It's annoying if someone comes up to you and talks like an expert. Like, I'm not gonna. I partially have professional training in some of these things. Redirect. Redirect. Okay, here we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. I know you love me. How's Justin Bieber doing lately? Silly liberal. You don't know that slavery was bad. Nice. One second. One moment, please. Here you go. How's it going? Alex Jones schooled me on globalism. That guy brought up the word globalism a lot too, so he kept saying the word globalism. I'm not gonna really respond to that though. I don't want to get too deep into that conversation. All right, I'm doing YouTube Shorts again right now. Give one more try. Do you think these ICE arrests and kidnappings could escalate to citizens using self-defense? I'm sure. I mean, they're really terrible people. They are ICE agents are the worst people in the world. I would never say that about like police officers, by the way, because police officers are like ICE agents. Holy crap, dude! Police officers are actually from communities, you know. They still care. The majority of police officers still care about their communities, even if you like them or don't like them or whatever. ICE agents are literally evil. Imagine just like what kind of person you need to be to want to do that job, you know? To want to do that job, it's insane. Okay, let's try again. YouTube Shorts back up. YouTube Shorts is back up. If you want to go to YouTube Shorts, please go to YouTube Shorts. Every other country in the world doesn't allow illegal immigration. You're someone that doesn't understand laws. You do not understand any laws, bro. That sucks. You don't know the Constitution. You don't know anything, do you? You just listen to radio. Okay, let's do this one. You can call. Bad takes, bad stream. You're right. So, like, for example, illegal immigration. Definitely. Everyone agrees. Every Democrat agrees that you should get illegal immigrants out of the country. But the thing is, the vast majority of the people in America are seeking asylum. And the asylum laws are loose, for sure. But if you want to change those laws, that's a conversation we can have. But if you're going to say, like, you know, for example, we allow illegal immigration, we don't allow illegal immigration. We have an asylum process where you have immigration courts and you have asylum courts and these other, you know, proceedings you can go through. So, like, Biden did not violate any laws with his immigration. But you can say that the asylum laws are too loose. And they did try passing a law to do that, to fix that. But Trump told Republicans to vote it down. So that's the big thing there. Yeah, YouTube Shorts chat is open. I'm going to tell these people they can call again if they want to. That one didn't go through. You can call again if you want. Let's see if I can find one. Thank y'all for watching again. How long was that conversation? I messaged these people if they want to call in. You're not saying Biden broke any laws, but we don't allow it. We do not allow illegal immigration. The conversation should be, and this is a big issue with conservatism in America, you should be saying, like, oh crap, I have the chat on subscribers only. You should be saying, our asylum laws need to be changed. But it doesn't sound as good because people don't like nuance. If you said we should change our asylum laws and pass a bill to extend or expand our immigration courts and expand border security or whatever, that's an actual opinion. But conservatives going around like, illegal immigration is allowed in America. Democrats love illegals. Democrats want open borders. It's just so detached from reality. And it's easy to not live in reality because you don't have to deal with nuance or the difficulty of making an actual policy to implement. But it's just not true. If you really care about this problem being solved, then you should stop saying incorrect things about it and talk about actual ways you can, fix it in the way you want to fix it. But there's a reason Trump isn't trying to do any actual bills through Congress. It's because he does not really want to fix the problem. Same as Republicans. They love being able to campaign on the border. They will not fix the border because then they don't have anything to fearmonger about. If they fix the border and immigration law, then what do they campaign on? Just trans people? They're going to run out of trans athletes to talk about because there's only 5 trans athletes in the country. So what else do they talk about at that point? I guess you would say. Possibly. Who's this one? Tim Pool. That's crazy. Bro. What's going on here? Pam Bondi is literally a garbage human. Holy crap. It's hard to find someone who's that garbage as a person. Like, Pam Bondi does not deserve to be in public. For real. Holy crap. China eases tariffs. This fight with Trump heats up. Holy crap. What fight? The fight where America gives up ahead of time? Hi.
Hello?
Hi. What's up?
I want to make sure I call the right number here on the stream.
Yeah, this is the politics. What's up?
George Bush, man. Oh, shit, yeah, I hear myself now. George Bush, I want to hear your thoughts on 9/11.
Sorry, I don't talk to gay callers. I'm sorry. Go take that somewhere else. Keep it in your bedroom. Let's see. Please call again. Other number. I saw you call. Whoa, that's loud, brother. Oh crap! I just called that guy back. Is he gonna get my call? Hello, I called you back when you were calling. My bad. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, man? Hey, I'm surprised this call it said getting through. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. How about you?
I'm all right. I've been watching your show for a while, man. There's a lot of things I agree with you on. Just a few things I don't,
Hell yeah. What do you disagree with?
Well, for one, Ukraine, man. Like, now, I understand they're trying to get away from Russia, and I also understand that, this is a big mess that's going on, and I kind of disagree that Americans have to take a hand in this situation, I just don't agree with it at all, I don't know much about history, but I do know at one point that Putin tried to get in NATO at one point with, I believe when Bill Clinton was in office, and America turned him down flat.
I guess the issue with Russia and NATO is that NATO was built to defend countries from Russia. So like letting them in NATO, I'm not sure if there was ever a maybe like Putin wanted to, like, or he would consider it. He would consider wanting to join NATO at one point as a strategic thing. But he refused to go through any of the processes to even like think about it because he knows Russia would never be able to pass any of the clearances or checks. There's a certain standard for your democracy. You can't be a literal dictatorship and be in an alliance like this that violates so many international laws and I mean any laws at all, like Putin does. And the fact he puts bounties on American troops, I'm not sure if that happened back then, but like anything Russia has done in the past 30 years has been really, really terrible. And there's a reason we have NATO, and the reason Russia does not want Ukraine to be in NATO, although NATO is on Russia's border already. There's like 6 NATO countries on Russia's border. It's just because they want to be able to take Ukraine. And I would probably just say back to World War II, where like America said for a long time, like, well, it's over the 2 oceans, we're safe here. Why would we help defend Europe from Hitler, for example? And then we're like, oh crap, and this is like 80 years ago. It's like they have planes, they're bombing Hawaii, they have Pearl Harbor happen, and then we realize like, oh crap, these people are actually insane. So like if Putin can take more countries and China is supporting them, North Korea is supporting them, maybe they just keep on going, and eventually if Europe's gone, America. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but America has what, like 340 million people right now, 350 million people. China has 1.6 billion. For us to even stand a chance to go against China, we need things like immigration to function. We need alliances with Canada, Mexico, and Europe to even compete with a place like China. So like if Europe's fighting a war versus Russia, or if we're not going to back up like a NATO country if NATO gets attacked by Russia, or Ukraine, we still have deals with Ukraine, and Ukraine is like the first defense to preventing another war. Like in my opinion, funding Ukraine prevents another war from happening. And we don't have any choice but to defend a place like Europe, or they're going to come for us eventually, and then all of our allies are going to be gone. And right now, we have the unique ability to do things that are correct morally for humanitarian reasons. It helps us get intel back for our drones and our missile defense systems. And like I'll say very callously as well, I think it's the right thing to do, but also we're killing Russia. Like Russia has 10,000 North Korean troops fighting with them, Chinese troops. They have Chinese technology. They have funding from China and North Korea. We have a chance to attack those countries that are our enemies. And we're just helping arm people who are defending their homes. So I think it's a win-win-win scenario on literally every ground we can look at. Yeah, it's just hard to. I don't know. People bring up the argument we should use that money at home, but then they cut all the benefits. They cut all the shit for people at home too. So.
Well, like I said, I'm not a historian, but at one point wasn't Ukraine was like I wouldn't say like a part of Russia, but they were like annexed at one point. Then after the Soviet Union was dismantled, Ukraine had signed some kind of agreement with Russia where like they could gain their sovereignty if they did not join NATO at one point, and for their sovereignty it was like a contract that they had signed on towards Russia, to pull back all the nuclear arms that they had in Ukraine, and just to keep a safe border with Ukraine and Russia, and this past years, I believe 15, maybe 20 years, Russia kind of saying that Ukraine was like trying to go NATO, and they kind of, breaks the contract that they had with Russia as a sovereign country. So, like in my honest opinion, I feel like if you break a contract, you pretty much assed out. You put yourself in a situation.
So that was never like the only agreement was. The trade-off for Ukraine was they'd get rid of their nuclear weapons. That was the trade-off for them to have sovereignty and protection from being invaded from the U.S., from the U.K., and from Russia. So the only one that's been breaking these treaties in the past like 20, 30 years has probably been Russia multiple times. So denuclearizing Ukraine was the big thing. As far as NATO goes, when NATO was expanding, after Germany, Germany was separated. Then Reagan said the whole tear down that wall thing. At that time, there was no concept of these like Eastern European countries being independent nations, but they had elections, and that's how we got these countries that sprung off from Russia. There was never an agreement that Ukraine could never join like a NATO or an alliance like that. The big thing that's been happening is Russia wants to be able to take the countries Georgia and Ukraine, which is why they only have an issue with Ukraine joining NATO, not any of the other countries. Like Finland just joined as a result of Russia attacking Ukraine. But yeah, there were never any agreements on that. In fact, Russia did make a deal with NATO in like 1997, I think, or late 1990s, where they said if NATO does expand, they will recognize it, but the only rule is in the new territories the new NATO countries in Eastern Europe, the only rule was those countries could not have nuclear weapons in those countries. Russia made an agreement with NATO where it said, you can expand, but don't have any nuclear weapons on our borders. And NATO did follow that.
Oh, okay.
So that was another agreement as well. But the idea of like, Ukraine could never join NATO, or there were never, or the idea there was a promise made to Russia that Ukraine and other countries would never join NATO, or NATO would never move east. Even the former Russian leader Gorbachev said that never happened. So we do have testimony from the actual leaders at the time. But Putin does lie
Oh,
about
okay.
stuff. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. That was like one of the things that I was kind of confused on, because I was quite certain that that was one of the agreements that Ukraine was to never join NATO.
It's a
And
good
by
video
them
actually.
joining NATO,
This is actually an interesting one. If you look at Ben Shapiro's interview with Zelensky, he put up a couple days ago. Ben
oh,
Shapiro actually gives
okay,
off
hold
a
on.
really, really good description of what happened with Ukraine and Russia at the beginning of it.
Well, like with Ben Shapiro, that guy's like, what's that guy from Destiny Laboratory? I can't think his name. I don't know if you're familiar with that show. It's a cartoon called Destiny Laboratory, and he had he had like a arch nemesis name. Um, Damn, I can't think his name. But anyway, that's who Ben Shapiro put me in a sense of. He's like a Zionist, but he wanted to be, a complete. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I really don't really follow Shapiro at all, because he kind of like a hypocrite in
Yeah, I
some
don't
sort
like
of
Ben
fashion.
Shapiro. I was just saying it's interesting to hear that even someone like the right wing and left wing can both come away with like Ben Shapiro. As far as people on the right, he gives a good framing of what actually happened with Ukraine and Russia, and why there's a big thing in the world wars and any conflict about Ukraine being so resource rich and very rich with farming. And Russia largely does want access to ports in Ukraine. They want access to precious minerals in Ukraine. So they have that reason, and also you could hear Putin's own
Well,
words about why they want to
of
invade Ukraine. It's just
course,
for it's a
and
national purpose, it's a military effort to help Putin after Russia's economy collapsed after COVID, the inflation. That was a good effort for
yeah,
Putin politically.
yeah, and plus, Ukraine, from what I hear, is like the breadbasket of Europe, and I don't
Yeah, yeah.
understand it really. Like, for it being somewhat of a cold climate,
Oh, it's a
but
huge country. They do
the
have a lot
geography,
of fertile land.
yeah, and the geography of Europe is so crazy, because like Germany, for once, is like very rich in resource, and that's why they had so much problems. Like a friend of mine I went to school with, he like, from what he was telling me, like Germany before Hitler was like somewhat of a nerdy country. They were rich in uh, grain, steel. I mean, grain, metal, all type of natural resources, and a lot of countries used to pick on them. So once you pick on a certain person for so long, they tend to come to school with a submachine and shoot up everything. And that what he would try to explain to me was like that was pretty much the history of Germany. 'Cause for like World War One, Germany is starting become what's it called, like a nationalist country. Like they
Hmm.
recognize that, okay, if we all pull together and we all pull our resources, we could kick everybody ass and keep them out of our country. And that's what they were trying to do. But the global powers that there was at the time felt like Germany, we could go in, kick their ass, but like a nerdy country, they start using their brain and start using pulling their resources, and they pretty much honestly kicked everybody ass in World War One. Believe it or not, they kicked Russia ass, they kicked uh Great Britain ass. You know what I'm saying? They did a lot of damage. It just took everybody to come in and like really come together just to really destroy Germany. Then World War Two, they did the same thing. It's just like, in my opinion, I feel like with Germany and Ukraine, they like the same predicament. Like Ukraine right now, they got a whole bunch of natural resources, and everybody in the world, they recognize that this particular country got a great decent amount of resources, and we all want to help them, but at the same time, we also want to take from them as well. I feel kind of conflicted with Ukraine because I understand that us as Americans, we pretty much want to help and protect them, and we do also recognize that they have a lot of resources that we could use, but at the same time, like, hey man, we got a lot of problems going on here in America. Like, we got schools closing, we got mental institutions where they letting a lot of crazy people out in the streets, and those billions of dollars that we send across seas could be used here. And I
Yeah,
just
but if that was the
don't.
case, though, the biggest issue we have is not taxing rich people, and I'd probably say that
Oh
the
yeah,
dollars we send
most definitely.
overseas, it keeps our country safe, it keeps our troops safe, it keeps the world like more stable, it keeps our trade routes open, it gives the U.S. A leading position globally. So we get huge return. Like when we send money to Africa, like we get trade from them. We get they trust us. Then their people want to support the U.S. and work with us, and we help prevent diseases. And we get huge benefit in America from the dollars we spend. And you can have an opinion like we should change like certain programs that you hear about and you don't agree with for sure. Like when people say, oh, they did a trans parade about the trans mice in Africa and wherever, and they were dancing with all the gays, and like they just say shit like that, or they say we gave money to BLM. They'll make up a bunch of shit, and you can have that opinion, but also these things. There's a reason America. We led the entire world after World War II, and that's the reason we became the richest country in the world. Is because we did all this. We made this world. We made all the trade deals. We set the stage. But now we have a competing China, and us withdrawing money in all these countries and taking back foreign aid. Whenever we leave somewhere, China goes right in. China's like licking their chops, like
Oh
ready to
yeah,
go in.
oh
They,
yeah,
they recreate our
most
USAID
definitely.
programs. They're gonna take all of Africa. They're gonna,
Oh yeah.
Europe is trading with China more now because we're telling them to f off for no reason with their dumbass tariffs that are going to be a tax on us. So I would just say like, we could definitely evaluate it. But whenever someone says like, why don't we use this money at home? I point them towards the billions of dollars we give Elon Musk, the huge tax cuts we do for the billionaires.
Yes,
We could
yes.
easily be taking care of that shit and doing more globally and be fine with it. But they want the world to be against people that actually work for a living. So that's the biggest
Hey
issue we have for
man,
sure.
oh man, hey man, like it. Man, you know what? You just said a whole mouthful when you say that, cause like when George Bush took office, I mean he got like tax breaks across the board for like billionaires. And the crazy thing about it that these guys still had these tax breaks when Barack Obama got in office. Then when Trump got in office, then when Joe Biden, these test breaks had never been, you know what I'm saying,
You
like
forgot one though. You
broken.
forgot one. Remember that happened first with Reagan, and it never worked. It made our deficit
Of
higher.
course,
The rich got richer. Like that's when Reagan is when all this shit started.
man,
That's when all the working
don't,
people lost
don't,
their money. That's when unions got
don't
killed.
even get
That's when
me
they started
started.
getting college debt. Yeah, Reagan, then Bush, then Trump.
Lord
The
have
tax cuts
mercy.
never
Yes,
worked. The giving all the rich people all this money never worked.
yeah,
They keep doing it though.
and only, and that's the crazy thing. It only slides us farther and farther in debt because we are dependent on the working class to cover everything. But the ultra rich billionaires don't pay shit. Or, excuse my language, I don't mean to cook, but they don't pay
I say
anything.
shit. I say shit.
You
I don't
know.
say it. Yeah. No, I got mad today because you know Rita's. You ever go to Rita's like Italian Nice and Custard?
Oh yeah. I heard about them. I never. Yeah.
It's like Rita's or Dairy Queen. I saw this line outside this ice cream shop, this big corporation ice cream shop, and I know these like high school girls are getting paid like $10 an hour. And I see this line. It has like 35 people in this line, and they're inside looking all
Exactly.
stressed, running around. And I'm like, these ice creams are $7 a piece. They're making at least 35 people. They're making at least like they have multiple people with them. They're probably buying multiple things. They're making at least like $10-15 profit margin off this. And these girls are getting paid $10 an hour. Meanwhile, this shop owner that just paid the money to build the damn place never does any work. They get all the money. And we just think that's
Oh yeah.
okay. It's just crazy to me. I feel bad for those people grinding their ass off in the hot summer. They're doing all this work, sweating their asses off, and they get paid They get paid nothing compared to what the people that just buy the
Oh.
store get paid. All these nepo babies.
Oh, man, don't even get me started on this. See, like, I had worked for a tissue company. See, I'm from the South. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. and I worked for a tissue company. I worked for a tissue company, and I was a machinist. And like basically, it was the easiest job in the world. But I got paid close to $100,000 a year. Like this job had opened a lot of opportunities
Mm-hmm.
for me. But it was a union job, of course. So like, but our monthly goal was to hit 800 to $1 million a month. Just to, you know what I'm saying, just to keep the lights on, just keep a profit margin. So, I call myself leaving that job to go work for the rail company. There I'm a machinist as well. I'm a CNC, a CNC, pretty like a fabricator. What I do, I drill into the rails and metal and stuff like that, and cut the parts that go into the railroads and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Now I do make a little bit more than what I was making at the tissue company. But the crazy thing is that our goal set up there is $3 million a month. So at my last job was 800, but at this job is 3 million, and we hit our goal every month. But there's no incentive pay. There's no kind of there's no union for one. Okay. But there's no extra. There's no kind of, man, I can't explain to you. The pay that we get is ridiculous to compare to what we manufacture at that place. And that's how I kind of like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, we work very hard. We make our quarters, but we're not seeing the dividends that come from this job. And
Yeah, I mean,
that's
yeah.
like, yeah, that's like with the taxpayer. Like, we work, America, we pay so much into our taxes, but we're not seeing, we still got potholes in the street. We still have like hospitals that like underfunded, you know what I'm saying? Like nurses, they quitting every year. Got doctors, they stressed out, like they working from this hospital to this hospital because this hospital don't have enough doctors, or this hospital, like it's crazy. But
It's a choice too. It's a choice that we have it like that.
of course, it's a choice. And and another thing, like I have two daughters in college, and I did not know once upon a time that our kids were able to go to college for free before Ronald Reagan. Like I did not
Yeah.
know that. And it's crazy that like my daughters, like one of my daughters, she's on a full scholarship. Now I still had to pay for dorm and parking space, and my other daughter, I had to pay for the whole tuition, and then I'm also struggling with my mortgage. It's like, but half of my taxes, half of my paycheck going to my taxes, like I don't see anything from it. You know what I mean? Like, we still got potholes in the street. We still have mental hospitals that turning people away. We still have hospitals that understaffed. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Another reason
But
they
we
don't want
still
people
have.
going to college too is like they want to keep every piece of the pie because more people that go into management, more people that go into ownership, the more managers and owners, the more these rich guys gotta. That's why they want AI so bad to replace all the managerial class, because if there's no managers or bureaucracy, then there's zero chance for anyone like us to get into these positions that are anything but laborers, but working class people. There's no
Exactly.
one from us making actual decisions. If there's no one from us making actual decisions, then the decisions they make are never going to be for us. But I mean, right now we have a society where we say it's like okay to pay there's like public toilets, right? There's public toilets. And you know how those things get. And the guy who has to clean, the poor guy who's got to clean those damn toilets is getting paid like $7 an hour. And I'm like, that guy should, you know what? I would pay more in taxes to give that guy $50 an hour, bro. The shit he's got to clean up, I'd pay that guy like 10 times more than what he gets paid right now. And you know what? We'd probably have cleaner streets too. Everyone would be happier. Like that guy does the hardest job in society. I'm not like everyone could probably agree with that. Like that's the last thing anyone wants to do. It's crazy. It's insane, dude.
Oh my God!
I know what I do. I know what I
do.
do in there. He's cleaning up after my mistakes.
In my younger years, I used to work on construction, and those porta potties are terrible, man. Like,
Yeah.
You know, then the guys who actually come and clean, I mean, they clean it spotless, like where you like could down there come in there and just poop in peace, like you don't have to lay in, man, and this is a hard and terrible job, and no guys get paid hardly anything, but you know, you got a guy that come in and hit a couple buttons on the computer and take long breaks, you know, like it's the working class people who are catching the most hell and are getting taxed the fucking most, man. Like if you work it, man, some guys don't even take overtime because they're afraid that their checks are going to get overtaxed, you know. And the whole reason a lot of guys before Donald Trump got voted in, he had made a promise like, okay, um, if you work overtime, your overtime won't be taxed. You still getting taxed, and it seems like getting taxed even harder. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. It's the people who at the very bottom catching all this shit, and and on top of that, they're voting against
You know what they were
themselves,
gonna
man.
do with that though? They were gonna do a little loophole. Do you know about that? They were gonna do like the overtime limits. They were gonna let them do overtime not for 1 week, but for over a period of a couple weeks. So like they could do 2 week windows, and they could shift your hours around. So you work like 55 total, or like how much would that be? Instead of working like let's say they'll say like overtime for 2 straight weeks. They'll have you work 40 the 1 week, and then like 55 the other, and then cut you off or something like that, so that you never hit the actual
Yes.
overtime number. Like they were gonna
Oh,
shift the
oh,
numbers
oh,
around and all that crazy stuff to make sure no one gets
oh,
overtime.
oh. You know what? This happening already. This happening already. See, now like I used to work 80 hours, 80 hours a week. You know, people used to tell me, "You crazy? Why you working all the hours?" I got two adult daughters in college. You know what I'm saying? I got to. Then I also got a mortgage. I also got car notes and all this extra stuff going on. You know, and they already doing it. Like I used to be able to get 80 hours. Now I'm barely getting 60 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real tough. Then on top of that, they coming up with these different kind of plans to make the company work. Like, okay, well you're gonna work overtime, but this week it's gonna be straight hours. So like straight hours mean you're gonna work the hours you normally get. There ain't gonna be overtime, double time, none of it. The only overtime that you're gonna see is the overtime that you probably work when you go in for holidays or something like that. But
Yeah, and
like they
you said something
trying.
about like people working and just like I definitely agree people don't work as hard, but I definitely, because they always talk about penalizing success. There are people, and I've definitely been through it, where it's like you go to college and you have a certain skill set. That's not going to be you grinding for 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week. It's going to be you being trusted by an important organization to make decisions. And based off your ability to lead people, to design programs, to organize events, your professional like skill in that case, you said like your daughter's in college, like you can get a job with a college degree that'll be more of an office job where you do get paid well, you have good benefits, and you are like in the managerial area and you're good at that kind of stuff. And I think that's fine for sure, because I mean that's what people there's some people that are meant for that kind of work, but that doesn't
Oh
mean we
yeah.
should degrade people that do the other work that is a lot harder physically. And we never respect that. And I'm out here trying to advocate for people from a position that's more white collar, and they're out here driving trucks 90 hours a week, and they call me and I'm like, hey, let's do something better for working people with like taxes and all that. And they're like, well, the Alphabet Club is going to make me go crazy. It's like, well, if you're not going to vote based off your own interest because of the Alphabet Club or whatever, I don't know what you're
Of
even
course,
doing. Like, just stop crying about it. Like, you don't even have if you're that, I don't know, dude. Like,
man. Oh, dude, don't even get me started. Like it's like okay, you got the white collar jobs. Don't get me wrong. Like they deal with a lot of bullshit, and their job's not easy. Cause I know some guys that work white collar jobs too, and they put up with a lot of bullshit, like stuff that I know that I might snap out on. And I'm not trying to take away from that, but like at the same time, like I got a cousin. She doing her doctor, and I told her like, why is you constantly going back to school, and you got by the time you got to school, you're gonna spend the rest of your life just paying off your student loans. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, why would you do that? Well, I'm just trying to build this and trying to do this. And I got this other cousin. They got he don't have his doctorate, but he got a whole lot of degrees, and he having a very tough time trying to find a job because the job that he qualified for, he overqualified for, and a job that he get paid good for, he don't want to do it because he feel like, man, I don't did all these years in college. Why would I work in a warehouse? Dude, you'll be a supervisor. No, like it's just really backwards and crazy to me. But at the same time, like you got these people who work hard but vote against their own interests. Like people that I work with, like you vote for Trump. Now you complaining. Well, we ain't getting our supplies and we ain't getting certain kind of screws and bolts. We ain't getting a certain type of steel that we need. Yeah, the tariffs is going up, and you think it's hard now? Just wait until the shit just really hit the fan. We ain't gonna be able to have anything here. Then there comes the layoff. Then there comes the write-ups, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that they normally let us slide with, we ain't gonna be able to slide with, cause like the company's gonna go under. It's a lot of
it's a
things.
big problem too. Like I think people are there's just stories about from especially down south where they said by law you got to let black people in the pools, in the public pools, and the white people would be like, you know what, we actually don't need a public pool anymore. They would drain the pool, put some concrete in it, because they'd rather kill the public pool, put concrete in it, rather than let black people be in there. And it's just like they would rather crash the economy, crash the entire world. They don't want to fund public schools. They don't want to help people with student loan debt. They like hate their neighbors because like we give all these tax cuts and contracts to billionaires, but we want to help out our neighbors who took student loans so they can be social workers and shit. And it's like we can't do that because they would let the entire they would let their communities fall apart before they accept people they disagree with or they don't like how they look or talk or what sexuality or gender or whatever. They'll crash everything. They'll have this panic and just lash out and kill themselves in the process. Hopefully, I think enough of them will wake up. Hopefully,
But the crazy thing about all of it is that in the South, we all working class. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't just saying that we dumb or anything like that, but we pretty much all working class. Like, you got the ghettos over here. You got the trailer parks over here. You know what I'm saying? You might have a nice middle-class neighborhood, like, in between all of them. Then you go way down east, over the suburbs. But we all pretty much working class, you know what I'm saying? And not only that you voting against your own interests and your own success, trying to hurt black people or the Mexicans or other immigrants, you are really hurting yourself. Because, like, in the South, like, dude, there's a lot of welfare babies that down here that are white. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. They are white, you know what I'm saying? But the crazy part about it is that they vote against their own interests. So not only you are hurting yourself, you hurting everybody around you. And it's crazy, man. It's like it's heartbreaking. Cause like then the most heartbreaking thing for me is that I'm black. Okay, I'm black, but you also got black people voting for Trump. I'm like, this. You are a fucking idiot. Why is you doing this? Well, Trump gonna do this. Trump. No, this dude is not for you. He's not for white people. He's not for black people. He are for the rich. And the thing about the rich people and how they think about white people is that they think all white people supposed to be billionaires. And if you are not a billionaire, they look down on white people a lot more than they look down on black people. Like, you are trash.
Well, Dave Chappelle said that too about like the tax cuts benefiting him. I don't like him, but
But this is straight facts. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from Memphis. Like, my great grandmother, she's worked for the Sun Studio owner. I can't think of the guy's name. You know, I never been in Graceland. I never been in none of places. But at that time, like, white people really looked down on the trailer park. The wealthy white people look down on
that's
the
what they
trailer
forget.
park a lot. Yeah, more than they look down on, cause you know they're like, you supposed to be up here with us, but you down there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But at the same time, they use the same method as they'll use us. They use blacks against whites, whites against black, to keep us all confused and hating each other. Why the people on top take everything for themselves? And it's crazy. Like, we still falling for the
Yeah,
same
it's like
fucking
that.
game,
The
man.
plane crashed. That one plane crashed when Trump took office. He's like, well, it must have been a black flying or something, like DEI. I don't know.
Yeah,
Had to be
yeah.
a. It could not have been a white dude flying anything. Like it's just like, it's just crazy too. Cause like I definitely see the people who are very poor working class, where they get lied to. They never see any of the world, which I think is the biggest issue. Not experiencing other people, not living
That's
around
exactly, yeah.
diverse backgrounds.
Yeah.
But it's also the suburban whites that make me the most mad, because they act like victims. They'll do anything to be victims, and they go into this Christian nationalism, which just takes Christianity and turns it into their power fantasy, their domination fantasy. It's nothing Jesus ever talked about. But yeah, they don't have any actual problems, so they invent problems. Like they live in the suburbs. They think they're oppressed if they see a black or a brown person walking around, or if they got to talk to a gay person. It's like, oh, I'm oppressed now. They have no actual problems, so they got to pick an oppression. And they're talking about other people playing the oppression Olympics. I never heard people complain more except white people from the freaking suburbs. Holy shit! Like they complain about everything. I deliver DoorDash sometimes. They'll cry about the DoorDash, and I'm delivering like. I picked up a pack of hot dogs a pack of glizzies for someone, and they gave like a $20 tip for a 2-mile ride. And I'm like, what are y'all spending your money on? A big old Trump flag, big Trump flag. It's like, bro, what are you using these glizzies? Like, I don't even know. Like, it's crazy how much money they spend on random shit, and they act like they're
Oh my
oppressed.
God.
It's just crazy.
Dude, you do the same thing I do. Like I said, I got kids in school and stuff like that, and I pick up like Uber Eats. I do Uber Eats, and you know, I try to compensate for them hours that I miss from driving. Okay, I pick up a $6 order or whatever, and a $2 fucking tip. I don't drove here all the way out here. This all you can fucking give me is $2. Like, what is wrong with you, dude? You live in a fucking mansion and $2. Like,
Uber
oh my
Eats is
God,
terrible.
like,
That's why I do Uber Eats if it's a short one, but DoorDash guarantees it. So like, Uber's crazy though.
yeah, it really is, man. I'm just gonna give up on just
Oh wait,
because I used to do.
yeah, someone said debate me, Jew boy. He said debate me, Jew boy. Okay, I gotta talk to him soon. But yeah,
Well, yeah, man. Don't pay him no attention.
nah, one
Like,
two, because he's
man, one
definitely a
thing,
very
one
lonely
thing.
person with no father. So
Yeah. But hey, I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you Jewish?
no, I have ancestry in Eastern Europe and Southern Europe, and I'm 1% African,
Oh, okay, that's cool. But hey,
and I'm
check
like
this out,
20%
man. Like,
Western Europe. Yeah.
like, like Jewish people, man. Like, if it weren't for Jewish people, man, like black people will be still struggling. Cause like Jewish people open a lot of doors for black people. I can't say that about the Jewish people nowadays, cause it's a lot of self-hate among the Jewish community, and totally disagree with what's going on in Palestine. I really hate it, cause like you got children getting bombed, and you got people just dying. It's terrible. It's awful, and they want to say like, oh, it's human shields. No, these are freaking babies. Why are you bombing buildings and hospitals and churches and schools like that? Like, that is fucking disgusting. And I'm like, man, I'm like, the way I grew up. Now we don't have too many Jewish people down here in the South, but like I always grew up like, man, the Jewish people always been down for black people. But now it's seems like, I don't know, like man, like what's going on? Like,
It's really
okay,
I look into Christian nationalism too. Christian nationalism, that's what a lot of these Project 2025 guys are, a lot of these Trump guys are. Christian nationalists are teaming up with the Zionists in Israel. And I don't use that. I don't talk about Israel Palestine that much because I'm not well versed enough to go through every single word or ever. I know a little bit about international law, but I don't talk about it that much because I'm not as well versed on it as some people. But
No, I'm
like
not.
the
I'm
Christian
not real
nationalists
versed
and the
either.
Zionists are teaming up right now. They're choosing the common enemy, which
Yeah.
is Muslims. Definitely, it's like a new extension of the Crusades. That's why Pete Hegseth has tattoos that essentially mean kill Muslims. He's he's known to yell when he's drunk to yell kill Muslims when he's in a bar. So Pete Hegseth, all these Christian nationalists. I hope people can go do some research. The KKK were a Christian nationalist organization. They used their pressure in the South to try to ban books, to try to ban teaching of Black history, to try to ban Black people from school segregation. They tried to ban Catholics from coming to America, and immigrants. They tried to ban all languages just to attack immigrants. The KKK is a terrorist wing, very radical, of course, but they're from the same Christian
Yeah.
nationalist ideology that's banning books today in America. And I hope people can
Yeah.
recognize that and look up what they actually said. The KKK said America first before we even had an America First party in the 40s and 50s and 30s, which actually was a pro-Nazi party in America, neo-Nazis. So like America First was always from those people because if you're in America and you're a patriot, of course you think America should be doing good things. The only people that said America First, when the KKK said America First and we need to make America great, they meant we had to make America white in our image, in our Protestant image of Christian nationalism. That's what they meant by America. Because it goes without saying, if you love America, you should want America to do good. But when they said America First, that was always a dog whistle. But that's a little bit of a tangent. But I'm gonna take this debate. But
No, no, no,
I know
no,
what you're
no,
gonna talk
no. You
about.
right.
No, I'm gonna give you a chance to express on this one. But I'm gonna talk to one of these guys. But I
No.
appreciate the call too.
Okay, yeah, man. Like, okay, with the neo Nazis and the KKK, it's like, man, I could go forever on them guys because at the same time, these are the same guys that I feel like they are like the dogs. They are the dogs for the upper class. These are the guard
Yeah.
dogs that protect the rich. And the same time that they don't even know that the upper class don't give a damn about race. Only thing they care about, the only color they care about is green. They would turn their dogs in or put them down at any
Yep. They
given
think they're on the same
moment.
team, bro. They think they're on the same team.
No, they are not. They are not. They just got masters. They got masters. At one point, the blacks and whites, we was all up on the same master. Now they just whites. They's up on their master.
There were workers'
And
revolutions with white people and black people, working class people, like having little
yeah,
revolutions against the store owners and the shop owners. Like in New York, there's a big
yeah,
one with working class revolutions across across race barriers.
yeah, exactly. And that was the union came in it. But now, it's just the KKK, the neo Nazis. The Nazis, they don't even understand, like the Nazis over here in America, they don't even understand, like, what Hitler didn't even understand what he stood for. Hitler began as a socialist. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, socialism, where it started out, is for, like, Germany. We're going to take care of the sick. We're going to take care of the poor. We're going to take care of the mentally ill. We're going to take care of everybody that's in our country. That's where it started, but it got corrupted, as all things always do. You know what I'm saying? But
Well, he wrote about that too, because the first people he killed and jailed were socialists and communists and Democrats and liberals. But he wrote about it. He added the word national to socialist, which is the Nazi, national socialist. He's really a nationalist. When people say they're a nationalist today, I don't know if they understand what they're saying, but yeah, he was a
well,
nationalist and he cared about just like yeah, he was anti-multiculturalism and anti-globalism. The only things he talked about were those two
okay,
things.
okay. Well, I can't think of his name. He supposed to be some kin to Prince Albert or where the hell his name is. But he was like the German dictator or whatever at the time of World War I. Nationalists at the beginning of nationalists was recognize your country. You nationally recognize that Germany, you are German. And in World War One, you also had, I guess, Aryans that consider themselves Aryans, blonde hair, blue eye, whatever. And you also had Jewish people and was it Cosket, whatever you call it. All these guys fought together in World War One. They all fought together in World War One. You know what I'm saying? You had Jews, you had all these people, because they understand that our nation is bigger than ourselves. And that's the same thing as America. We are nationalists. I love my country, so they made me a
But
nationalist.
you're a
But
patriot though,
it
because
got,
nationalism is a
yeah,
cult. Nationalism is about supremacy, and nationalism says you're not your own
now,
person.
yeah. Now it's like it's all been corrupted. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we look at the division instead of our country. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's not the same. You know, like, I can't explain it. I'm like, I don't do a 16-hour shift. I'm sorry, man. I'm like really
No, you're
throwed
good.
off.
No,
I'm
I
really
was gonna
throwed
say,
off.
I'm gonna talk to this disagreeer, but I hope the truck driver looks in the chat sometime to see how the chat gets when there's black people calling into the stream, just so he sees what side
Oh
he's
yeah.
on. I hope that guy
Yeah.
calls back in.
But
But
yeah, man.
yeah.
Yeah, let me go lay down and give me some sleep. And man, I love to talk to you again tomorrow, man. I love to talk to you again tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for watching. And we got conversations going on all the time. If you download or if you have Discord, there's always people talking about the world and politics and random stuff in the Discord. And I think there's a group talking in there right now, a few people. So if you ever get bored driving around doing Uber Eats, that's what I do sometimes. I do
Okay.
DoorDash on the side if I have free time. It's like, might as well. But yeah, thanks for the call, man.
Man, thank you, man.
All right, have a good
All
one.
right.
What a fun conversation. That was a good one. I enjoy it. Tonight's a good conversation time. Okay. Thank you so much. I saw this earlier. Drop a like on the stream, hit subscribe. You can call in now. The line's open again for disagreeers. Only disagreeers right now. We're gonna do only debates. We can talk about nationalism if you want. Nationalism. Thank you so much, RJ, for the support, for the donation on Cash App. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you for supporting independent media.
Hey,
Howdy, this is
Jolah,
the
how you
politics
doing,
guy. What's
buddy?
up, Daddy? What's up?
Hey, so I want to talk about some of your comments on nationalism, right? You said nationalism was this horrible white supremacy, big evil boogeyman, right?
No, not white supremacy. No.
No, that's what you said nationalism was. You literally just
No, it
said
is
talking to that
supremacy.
gentleman on
It
the
is
phone.
supremacy can be other things too.
Then what's wrong? What's wrong with nationalism? You tell me that. Come on, like I want you to red pill me here. Right, I'm a groiper, right? I'm that Christian nationalist that's teaming up with the Zionists. So come on, educate me here.
So like nationalism could say we can only collaborate with people that look like us and act like us and talk like us, that share our culture, which is what nationalism usually results in. It usually results in a domination fantasy where you think your influence needs to be supreme to all others globally. You can't collaborate with other cultures, with other globalists. You can't do all that because you're nationalist and you care about only your national pride and identity, and it's usually defined by other people, and everyone needs to conform to the national identity. There's no room for the individual in nationalist countries. Ultra-nationalism is the actual term, ultra-nationalism, which is usually what Christian nationalists are. When I comment on that in America, it's usually because, patriotism takes care of it. A nationalist, when you say America first, usually America first is not America first, which is what we're seeing right now with like the tariffs, for example. But yeah, I think, I don't have my whole definition here, but that's generally it.
Oh no, I absolutely agree with you. I despise Donald Trump. He's lied to the American people. He's lied to the American right. And also, Charlie Kirk, man, like that guy's he's a total coward, and he won't even debate Dean Withers, who I think's a total idiot, and he won't debate Nick Fuentes. It's like the guy's a total clown. He goes to colleges and speaks to people that are below his intellectual level in order to make himself feel better. I'm in agreement with you on that. I'm looking at your stream here. Your thing says diversity is awesome, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can't agree with that, man. Like, I can give you some examples where multinational people come together and it ends up boiling up to a huge race war. Look at Yugoslavia in the 90s. Fuck, like their entire people started killing each other. Orthodox killing Catholics, Catholics killing Muslims, Muslims killing Catholics. It was a whole melting pot of just cultural disaster. Like, I don't know how you can justify that when you put multiple people, multiple races together in one country that was meant for a specific race, how that can be, like a good thing. Like, I want you to justify that for me.
Usually cultures that cannot handle multiple races or diversity result in ethno-states and also dictatorships. So look at Russia, China right now, North Korea. If they cannot integrate with other cultures and whatever else, they usually fall to authoritarianism because the system can't be stressed ever. America is very uniquely positioned, largely because we actually handle diversity pretty good in America. I know we still had issues, but the whole world has issues and violence. We can get researchers, the best researchers from every country and culture throughout the world. Look at the Olympics. We're good at the Olympics. There are different ethnic categories that dominate in different Olympic events because of different cultural reasons for what is like focused on from different cultures that are brought into America. Being able to accept immigrants into America does provide a workforce that does jobs that native-born Americans typically don't want to do, and that allows us to compete with China. I would probably credit our like universities bringing in these world-renowned researchers and our ability to accept diversity in general as the reason America has been the longest-standing a democratic constitution globally by a long shot. I think we've actually done a pretty good job withstanding like the coming off of slavery, coming off of Reconstruction, coming off of civil rights movement. I would probably credit a lot of our success versus these countries that felt like if you look at Asia, like every country there has been a communist dictatorship for like all of time, and they fall into that cycle for a reason. Largely, and I mean even in a place like Japan, which is more free, it's really hard for them to accept outside groups, and I'd probably say they're hindered by it. But yeah, I think that's my general argument, and it seems like the problems from diversity start not by the diversity necessarily but by the people that want to cause wars over diversity. The only people that ever destroyed Europe over multiculturalism are people like Hitler who tried to start global wars over multiculturalism.
Well, I mean, with Hitler, right? I mean, sure. What did he do? He annexed Austria, right? And what he tried to, expel Jews from his country. That inevitably led the country to, completely fuck itself. I mean, look at the national economy after the Treaty of Versailles. That completely fucked the national government, making the Deutschmark relatively pointless. Who else came up in that period of time, right? Big businesses, Jewish ran businesses. And after Hitler's Enabling Act, when he expelled all the Jews, he reclaimed the national economy, especially expelling these Jewish-run corporations and nationalizing banks, banning private banks, because as you know, interest is a Jewish-created thing. And
Wait, did you talk to Pisco?
What was that?
Did you talk to a streamer named Pisco?
Pisco? No, I don't know who that is.
Really? All you gripers, there's a griper that called into his show, and you guys all, I don't think it's offensive, but you all sound the same. Like, you all have that, like, you all sound like Nick a little bit. It's kind of contest. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because you watch him a lot and you just, like, talk about the same
No, I have
topics.
connections to Nick in real life. I've met him in person several
You do?
times. Met him
You
through a
must
personal
be
friend, yes.
twins. Okay, okay, but what about my points about America and like the big thing about America would be you can come from anywhere, any culture, and you could still be American. What do you say about what I said about like being able to
I
have the
disagree
best
with that.
resources
I
from everywhere?
totally
Okay.
disagree with that. Just because, I mean, sure, everyone's be like, oh well, Americans, stolen land, and I'm sitting there like, well, if you're over here from fucking New Pakistan or whatever, and you're coming to America to immigrate from your shithole, whether legally or illegally, you're not American. You're not American born. Being American is defined by whether you're born on the soil or not, or whether your parents were born on the soil, or whether your generations of parents were born on the soil. And especially the establishment of the American government, sure, it was done by Englishmen, but that created the culture, that created the American people, and America is a white nation.
What about like non-white? What about non-white? So like for example, immigrants built our railroads largely, and that could be. Oh, and you probably maybe don't think they're white or the right kind of Christian, but like Polish, Irish, those cultures that came into America to do all these jobs like railroads and coal mining, that really built and fueled our industrial revolutions in America. The white
I don't
ones.
disagree with you. I mean, again, America, in order to have a leg to stand on, they relied on cheap labor.
Yeah, but do you think they're
However,
not American, like because they moved here? If they're
No,
white?
absolutely not. Absolutely
Okay.
not, because they're not American. They came over on a fucking ship in after the founding of the country, and they're just been sitting here on our soil waving an American flag, even though they're not American. It doesn't make sense. That's like saying I would go over to China, right? I would move to China and I would start working in China, and I somehow learned Chinese and I'm waving a Chinese flag. Does that make me Chinese? No. I'm a fucking Southern American white boy, right? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but that's
the
not good,
same
right? Because
logic.
China has no freedom, and that's probably why they don't have freedom. And I'd probably say like
It was a
I don't
broad
know.
example. I could say Japan or fucking India, like any of these other places.
But that's okay. One point that you brought up earlier, though, that's why I said nationalism is supremacy. You said, "Oh, I'm talking about white supremacy." I don't. I think it's just general supremacy because obviously you could do the same thing for white immigrants as well, right? So you just care about that national blood and soil nationalism, like Hitler did.
I mean, yeah, again, blood and soil. That is nationalism. It is your
Yeah,
blood on your soil. Blood and soil. I agree with you. That is a
that's how I
nationalism. What
define
also comes
nationalism.
with
Yeah, versus
nationalism?
patriotism. Yeah.
But you're saying it's a bad thing. It's a relatively bad thing. It's not, right? Why should I not be proud of being born on this soil or being born on my
Because
land? Why is
you
that
never had to work
particularly
for it,
bad thing?
right? Okay, why do you think
Because it feels
why
safe?
is patriotism bad to you? Like why is patriotism bad and
I'm not saying
nationalism
patriot.
good?
I never said patriotism is bad. You're the
Can
one
you
that
be a
said
patriot and
nationalism is
not be born
bad.
in America?
Well, yeah, obviously you can have some idiot on the other side of the world from like India, like waving a fucking Russian flag or something like that, saying I love Russia, even though he's not even Russian. I mean, being patriotic for a country that you don't even live on is possible, but I mean, it's different. It's inherently different than nationalism, and it can, it can be bad too, because that means, dude from India, right? He's hating his country so much. He's praising some, random fucking European country. He's praising Russia. I'm not saying praising Russia is bad. My point is that the fact that he has his own like personal national regret or guilt that he's coming from this country is honestly a bad thing. So
Okay, let's say there's
patriotism, yes, can be
okay.
bad.
Let's say there's a white immigrant, okay? He's from let's see. He's from let's say Irish again. We have a white immigrant and they have a kid in America. They're not yet citizens. Is that child born on our soil an American?
No, because his parents weren't from American blood.
Okay, what about like Native Americans? Are they Americans?
Native Americans. I mean, they were here first, and by technicality, yes, they would be American.
Okay, by technicality. What is the
By
technicality they're talking
technicality.
about? Like what
That's
how are
like
they
that's like
different?
saying
Okay.
that's like saying if I lived in Norway and obviously the Vikings, they come from Norway, and like I know also at some point some of these other countries had like settlers come in, like I don't know, like some people have like Spanish colonies. That's like saying the original people that lived there before them weren't American. But none of them. Like back to the whole Native American thing. They were there before America was even established, right? That's the other part. They were there. That just crossed my mind that these people were there before America was even established. They can't even be considered American if the country didn't exist. Right? That's why I said after the Declaration, the people that were there after the Declaration that were born on said soil were considered American, not by definition, because they were there before. They would have been Native Americans. Why? Because, well, or Indians, which is apparently not the politically correct term anymore. But, again, by definition, they were born on American soil after the country was founded. That would have made them American.
Okay, my final question before I go on to another caller. Okay, so I understand your perspective here. So first off, I mean, would you agree with the actions that Hitler took? Do you think Hitler was a good guy? And then also the
Absolutely.
okay, and then also the other question would be, following his steps in Germany, destabilizing the legal process in Germany, moving the constitution around, getting the legal permission to take pretty much ultimate power there with no checks or balances. Do you want to see that in America? Do you just like you see Donald Trump and you think he's not going hard enough? You think he doesn't really care about your mission enough? And what is your like
Absolutely not.
what
I
is your
think
ideal vision of
Donald Trump's a
America?
show for Israel.
What is your
He's
ideal
a show for
future?
Israel.
What is your ideal future of American nationalism? And then I'll move on to another
The
caller.
Unfortunately, American nationalism is being persecuted by the very people that we've supported for years and years and years. They completely turn their backs on us. They completely turn their back on us. Donald Trump, right? He had all of the alt-right American vote in the recent election. Why? Because he's preaching America first, America first, America first. He hasn't done jack fuck. All he's been doing is been, taking orders from Mr. Netanyahu or whatever the fuck his name is in Israel and dumping more tax dollars in Israel. Now, he obviously has the balls to stand up to Zelensky, but he's not going to have the balls to stand up to Netanyahu. I mean, I just think Israel, and especially the Jewish faith, is behind a lot of the world's problems because, right, these people were behind 9/11. These people were behind the USS Liberty. They attacked our own naval war vessel and killed a lot of innocent people. And they said, oh, it was an accidental friendly fire. Obviously not, because even when the plane was asked to identify itself, it refused. And, also, I already had my whole spiel on 9/11 on how that whole thing was obviously a Jewish conspiracy. And it's written inside the Jewish faith, the Talmud, that we, the Gentiles, are like undesirables, and they want to reveal themselves to us and completely eradicate us. Obviously, I'm reading the chat here, and people are like, oh, this guy's a total idiot. This guy's a total idiot. But, you see, I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, back in the day, I was like a big MAGA, raving, red hat MAGA guy. I was like, yeah, Donald Trump, I stand for Israel. But then when I started, looking into what these people were about and what they've done, and the things that they support and the things they practice, it opened my eyes to what these people are capable of, right? These people are capable of conducting a horrible event to destroy American infrastructure, and especially, because after 9/11 was the Bush election, and Bush won that election. And, there's some sort of connection. Why? Because the owner of the World Trade Center took out a security deposit like 2 months, or at least actually a month before 9/11 for terrorism. He was a Jewish American immigrant from Israel. CNN was there hours before the attack, all Jewish owned. All the documents and
I don't know about the conspiracy theories. I don't want to platform them if I can't respond to them. I do want to know about your
it's a fact.
So the stuff I can engage with, okay, because I don't research the conspiracy theories to respond to them.
It's not a conspiracy theory; it's true.
Okay, but so when do you think is the greatest period in American history? If you had to pick a 20, 40-year period.
Let's see. I mean, are we talking recent, or can I go back further?
In the countries, since the beginning of the actual nation, late 1700s.
I get that. I think this might be a really hot take, and I know some groypers, probably wouldn't agree with me on this, is that I think Teddy Roosevelt. I mean, I think he did a pretty good job. Also, especially with some governors, I looked into Huey Long, right? And his policy, he was seen as the kingfisher, the fascists of fucking Baton Rouge, or whatever they call them, fascists of Louisiana. And, with his very right-wing, especially his policy really aligned with Hitler's, completely fixed the Louisiana's, economy, and fixed their infrastructure. And, it brought relatively positive effects to the country, or not only the country, but the state.
You said
and
that
he eventually ran for Senate.
You said Native Americans are not Americans, only by technicality. And then also Teddy Roosevelt, you probably liked, I guess, trust busting, that kind of stuff. If you don't like whatever you think the elites are. Okay, so Teddy Roosevelt did praise immigrants in general, and had the opinion that I guess Obama even said as long as they learn English, work hard, and believe in the Constitution, there's no problem with it, then they can become American. So what is the magical property that you see of a Native American being here by technicality, and which ethnic groups that came to America would you consider to be the real Americans? Was it the first ones from the original colonies? Which ethnic groups? What are the true whites? I guess I'm saying in America.
The true whites are the whites that were there during the foundation of the government, right? Anything before the signing of the Declaration of Independence, that shouldn't be considered at all, because America wasn't even a thing. That land was just not. It was obviously owned by the British, and before the British came and took it, it was owned by a bunch of tribalmen, that's not white. They're owned by tribalmen. That doesn't make them Americans. Does that mean Native Americans at the time when the British took control of that part of the Americas, does that mean they were British Indians? Or that doesn't make any sense, because India was under British, but Native British, they were just a tribe of people that were kind of there. They were natives from there at that time, rather than the white people that ended up taking that land and establishing the country, right? They would have been British if they were still around under the British rule, or they would be Americans when they were born into the American government, or the foundations after the American government. That would be what the true American would be.
Okay, yeah, it just seems really hard to pinpoint for you, kind of going all over the place. I guess it's really hard to, determine certain things if you're gonna make up like different rules on those grounds. And another reason why I would say that diversity is a good thing, just because it's necessary for a country like America to be built to this prominence. Our greatest eras have been in surges of high immigration and fueled by immigration. Like I said, the hardest jobs, the railroads, the coal mines, and everything. And I guess like that is the difference between a nationalist and someone who might even be just like a white supremacist, because they can say like races should be in a lower class of society working in these jobs that are less pay and that kind of stuff. But they could still say they're American. I mean, that they're part of America. But nationalism would just be very ideologically, just like would you agree it's like a cult or not? Or how do you differentiate
No,
what you believe versus a cult?
absolutely,
And what is difference
absolutely
between
not.
what is
It's
different?
not a
Do you think
cult.
MAGA is a cult? Do you think MAGA is?
MAGA, honestly, between you and me, I think that's mutual ground we can stand on. Yes, MAGA is a cult because a lot of these people, when they're presented with, actual facts, I mean, even shit. My mom, for example, big MAGA person, right? I started talking about Israel, and especially unfortunately with Christianity, these people have been indoctrinated into believing that, oh, the Bible says we must stand by the nation of Israel, and everything they do is great. And it's just unfortunate that we've been back so far as a society, and these people, they see Donald Trump as like this Hail Mary. Oh my God, he's going to save us, and they just negate any sort of research, or they negate any sort of legitimate truth, especially regarding the Jewish question. And it's quite sad because I present factual evidence on these kind of things, and the MAGAs, they wear their hats and they go, no, we must stand by the nation of Israel. Israel is so great.
Okay,
Donald Trump
final
and
question.
MAGA
Final
and
final
terrorists.
final question. Final question. Okay, so first off, if you have a Discord and you go on my Discord and find my name, shoot me a DM. I might have someone that might want to debate you, possibly. So if you're interested in that, send me a DM. Could be entertaining. But also, I guess my final question, because I talked to a decent number of communists who kind of also say like, Bernie's not far left enough for me or something like that. Because they're like full Stalinist or Maoist or whatever tanky version you want to talk about. So I would ask them, for example, why don't you commit more to trying to assimilate or at least like join whatever the dominant power structure is to move them more to your side? So why do you think it's just like, cooler to be, or not even cooler, but whatever, more to your aims or more to your goals to be a part of the Groyber community with Nick Fuentes versus trying to play it nice? Because I see even Nick Fuentes is fighting without. I think he fought with Alex Jones a little bit, right? He's even fighting with Alex Jones. So you're in a whole different league. So why don't you why don't you think it's necessary, or I mean just like right or pragmatic to assimilate with MAGA more?
Because unfortunately, the idea MAGA isn't, in my opinion, I don't think they have the true interests of America at heart, right? And honestly, Donald Trump has, made shit way worse, right? The eggs are still fucking expensive. The gas is still fucking expensive. Everything's still expensive. And, he's like, we're going to make America great again. And, and all he's doing is he hasn't fulfilled any promises. What has he done? What? Didn't allow a fucking tranny to go compete in a sport? I mean, good job, pal. You did one thing that we wanted you to do, but you have all this other shit over here that, frankly, doesn't matter. Like, frankly, you don't even give a fuck about. And, you're dumping our tax dollars into Ukraine, and you're trying to stop that. I mean, you have the balls to tell Zelensky to stop, but you won't have the balls to go tell Netanyahu, I'm not going to stop piling you money. And, it's a horrible thing. I think Israel is the root of the problem. Israel is rooted in MAGA. I think MAGA is an Israel scheme.
Okay, well that answered that question. I mean, I definitely, from your point of view, I definitely could see that. I mean, I guess with the cult point, yeah, MAGA does kind of just like change their positions all the time, but it seems like no matter what, even if Nick changes positions, he'd probably hold the same beliefs. So yeah, I guess it's
I
different from a
disagree
cult.
with
I'd still
Nick
say
on
it's
some
bad,
things,
but
actually.
yeah, sure. So I was just gonna say again, I'm gonna talk to someone, but if you go on Discord and DM me, I do have someone in Discord that if you wanna, once I'm done taking this next call, I'm done taking calls for the night. So if you were interested in having a public debate with one of my Discord mods that's into philosophy and could probably take you, you could probably go a little crazy talking about your viewpoints with them. Definitely feel free to shoot me a message. But yeah, I appreciate you describing your philosophy, man. Have a good night.
Of course. I expected this to be more heated. I mean, shit. I mean, when the first time I called it talked about George Bush, he even fucking gave me the time. Call me
No,
gay.
well,
Call
it's
me
just
fucking
like
gay. What's with that?
I mean, for me, you have to understand that I'm talking to like me platforming you probably makes MAGA look worse if you're associated with them, but you hate them too, so it's like you're a whole
No, I
different
hate them.
league,
I
right?
fucking hate them.
Yeah, you're a whole different
I
league. But I
fucking
mean, for
hate
me,
them.
it's just like I think I already know my position, but I can't really debate you much because I only really take my conversation as hard when I'm talking to someone who I think can be swayed, but you're already very ingrained in your belief system, so I can't really change your mind. Um, but yeah, I will let you talk for a little bit because it's interesting to hear that side of the internet for sure. But yeah, I mean, they want to talk about more conceptual stuff. My mod about like probably the question that you said about the what is considered to be your blood and soil, like what is considered to be an American or your form of nationalism. Not too many specifics or about any things you think happened with Israel, for example, but more of the conceptual stuff. So if you're interested in that, just let me know. We'll host it. But yeah, have a good one. Yeah. That's a good person. We should give him a microphone. He should have a podcast. He should be on Joe Rogan. He should be on Joe Rogan, to be honest. That's a very prominent view among MAGA. I heard. I'm just kidding. That was a wild. I actually it's interesting seeing one in the wild because he said he knows Nick Fuentes personally, so it's interesting. I mean, geez, not often can you journey into the side of someone, journey into the mind. I mean, mind of someone like that. Okay, but yeah, it's like I said, I can't go that hard arguing with someone who doesn't have like real opinions. It's just like, what am I gonna say? How can I argue with you if you just like believe things? I'm not. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy debater. Hello, what's up? You're on the line of Jolah. What's up?
Hey, man, good to speak with you. I was kind of jumping in to get your opinion on more how to make sure I am following or know good sources of information. Just a little background, like I'm a guy who loves like Veritasium, do a lot of software engineering, keep up to date with that stuff. And for myself, I know what's true because I have at least a really decent base of knowledge for the stuff I'm consuming. And more as I listen to different political, either streamers, YouTubers, the news, etc., the more I'm kind of disillusioned with the idea of, where is a good truth point for basing information on. And I recently saw Pete Buttigieg speak, and I think he's looking pretty good with kind of some of the talking points he's having. And then what really kind of got me to think about this topic in general about kind of how to figure out where good sources of information is when I heard Elizabeth Warren on CNBC, and she basically just schooled the hosts on Gov 101. And it was really refreshing to just kind of hear those more articulated law-based viewpoints. And I was kind of curious about how you're able to look at different pieces of information, digest them, and maybe not know, but understand from, how to say it, like a goodwill standpoint that these people are doing their best to push the right or correct information. Maybe they're not in agreement to it, but they're at least displaying it in a way that someone like myself, who, I don't have a giant political background, I'm stable in software and tech, but I'm not there with politics. And as much as I'd like to, brush up on all my politics and be a self-supporting information piece for myself, that's just a lot to do at the moment, and it is quite a political landscape that we seem to be in right now. So just kind of curious about how you kind of digest information and find truth in the knowledge that's all out there.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the points of, people don't have all the time in the world to verify everything. But I would say like someone like yourself who's seeking out knowledge, you would typically be the type of person to vote more liberal. So it's easy to tell you, like, for example, for the 2020 election, truth comes out in courtrooms. So like Trump can say forever things are stolen, they're taking advantage of us, other countries, blah blah blah. But if you take them to a courtroom, there's zero anything they can present in courtrooms to prove themselves to be not guilty or free or absolved or whatever. So the 2020 election, the Trump team fell apart whenever the courts were involved, but they strive in the media when they could just make stuff up. So obviously, number one, you could look at evidence presented in an actual court. Then you could look at when Trump says basic things like, we don't pay the tariffs, other countries pay the tariffs. It's hard because if you just Google that, you would see who pays the tariffs. But I guess the easier way to approach the conversation would be generally AP News is pretty good, and you would tell someone, you might have a secondary source or whatever source that you're on. Like AP News might link to something else, or they could talk about where the reporting comes from. And there's only a certain amount of correct you can possibly be on some topics, unless if you're actually there, of course, because being there, experiencing something is the number one way to know something is real in most scenarios. And people are uncomfortable if they don't directly experience something, especially conservatives. They don't trust data unless if they've seen it firsthand. They don't like gay people until their son ends up being gay. They don't like abortion until their daughter almost dies from having an abortion or needs an abortion or whatever else, or if their wife needs an abortion or someone they know needs a damn abortion until they experience it. So I'm trying to think, and I think Pete talks through it well. People get their information mostly from podcasts, which will give them bad information to start off with. Is there a claim you can think of that people ask, or that you have had questions about in the past that you had to look up that I can kind of go off of how I would verify the information for it?
Well, definitely tariffs in general. When I first started learning about them, and basically Trump was boasting about how, this is going to bring industrialism back to America and whatnot, and then I did a bit of a deep dive into it as far as the economics behind it. And at least from what I was looking into, it definitely does not look like that as far as the immediate future. I can see a version where, not even 10 years, 60 years in the future, if we don't explode, that maybe some version of higher tariffs to grow, the industrial might of our country might be beneficial, but at the same time, it's one of those things where at this standpoint in time, that's not really something I think is basically within the budget of America, especially as far as the population's concerned, unless we want to basically say F you to the entire population in order to, in 20 years, have a more stable place for people to put their foot down and say, okay, here's industrialism, but that's 20 years of destruction that we need to go through first. So
yeah, that's a challenging
one example.
Because populism makes conversations difficult because it invites a lot of people to vote that don't take time to understand certain things, and some things are super complicated, so it does not make it easy for someone who's not a policy guy like myself, because I actually went to school for it. I also don't think that school guarantees understanding, but I definitely understand why it's difficult. So for tariffs, first off, the people talking about tariffs, I wish people had a bullshit detector, because I can tell if a mechanic is a good mechanic based off of the actual things they do. So it's very clear. I don't know much about cars or fixing cars, but I can tell if the mechanic's good or not versus other mechanics. I have mechanisms to say, this mechanic is better than other mechanics based off reviews, based off testimony, based off experience. So I can make that decision. But people have an issue doing that with politics and politicians because the impacts are not as direct. Tariffs will be direct, but most political discussions are not. But if tariffs are direct and people don't like them, it's not going to be because they understand how tariffs work. It's going to be because their prices go up and their economy crashes, so they're going to be upset about it. So most voters are going to think that way. So you can just give people heuristic models of how you should approach certain conversations, but it is really difficult without a prior knowledge base. And liberals, I think, often forget this in their campaigning. Republicans campaign great to a very broad audience of people that are not very politically engaged. But liberals often forget that not everyone goes to college every day. Not everyone talks with this master level understanding of economic data. They don't respond to just graphs. Graphs are squibbly lines to most people. But yeah, for tariffs, what Trump is doing right now, the only time you can ever see, well, first off, he says other countries are paying the tariff, which is insane. We pay the tariff. Businesses in America, small businesses, 88% of small businesses import goods, 88%. We're probably going to have a reduction of like toy companies reduced by 50%. Jewelers are going to reduce by 40%. Coffee companies are going to be dying off. Truckers are being laid off all throughout the country in high numbers because of what's happening. But we pay that tax. So first off, if Donald Trump is going to either one lie about us paying that tariff, or if he's going to keep on repeating it, which he's been repeated that for like a year now, for maybe longer, you should know this guy's either insane or evil. Based off that alone, your bullshit detector should be like, oh, wait a second. He said this many times that the other countries pay the tariff, and there's not even a function to tax other countries. Like the companies that it's an import tax. So first off, I probably should not trust this person based off that lie alone. But then also, when you think about making businesses in America incur higher costs, it increased the cost of moving manufacturing. So if you have to build factories, how do you get those materials? We benefit largely from global trade. So it would probably make sense to use global trade to up our manufacturing base. What Biden did with the Chips and Science Act and increased our manufacturing for semiconductors and chips by, I think, like 10 times what it used to be. We had the biggest manufacturing boom since the New Deal with FDR under Biden. But these are gains seen over a long period of time. It's really interesting to talk about tariffs because Trump says we have to have short-term pain for long-term gain. We could easily subsidize those industries with tax dollars, give subsidies and tax incentives, tax cuts, tax credits, whatever it might be, to have those companies move, whatever the different areas are that need to be moved to America. Tariffs are the worst way to do it. It's only been done during the Great Depression. It made the Great Depression worse. There's no other country globally which does tariffs like Trump is trying. No economist, liberal or conservative, if you want to appeal to some type of authority with like people who understand economists, Milton Friedman is like a libertarian economist. He would hate tariffs. Hayek is a libertarian economist. He would hate them. Thomas Sowell would hate them. And they're very far right economists. Meanwhile, you have liberal and communist, every single person that understands economics, that from any political area, from any ideological area, they all agree tariffs are a destructive force for the economy. They all agree that these are bad. So those are some ways where I just have a bullshit detector based off some people. Like if he's going to be wrong about this basic fact, how can I trust them on this?
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So you're basically just I'm sure there's a give and take or a standard deviation of bullshit that you'll take in. That's basically just, all right, this person is saying some stuff. He's a politician. Maybe he got this one right, but here's his baseline of being correct, where what you're saying more with Trump is here is quite literally a laundry list of lies. So let me go ahead, take him off my radar as far as trusted sources that you can at least listen to for knowledge-based.
Yeah, and you said
learning.
Pete did a good job. Pete will walk through different policies and tell you specifics, but what Trump would do, like a used car salesman, be like, we're going to do great things, big things, huge things, amazing things, fantastic things. Your mind's going to be blown. He does so much work to sell the idea that he understands something, and he does no work to actually express and prove that he understands something. So
yeah, which is my main kind of grist with news nowadays is I feel like that is the news. And that's kind of when I heard Elizabeth Warren speak, and she kind of basically just told the host, like, hey, guys, shut up real fast. Let me tell you Gov 101, by the way. This is how the three pieces of government work together. No, the president doesn't just get to do whatever he wants with laws. Guess what? Congress is the one who's going to actually decide what's happening with stuff. Yes, the president gets to enforce it, but he's only enforcing it because someone actually set down in place what needs to happen to move forward. But I feel like those versions of knowledge pieces just don't exist, at least in the media that I've seen. So, yeah, so I guess that's more my frustration. And, yeah, I'll definitely be looking into AP News and listen to the courtrooms a little bit more. But, yeah, that's the huge frustration I have right now is I feel like I'm just listening to talking points that can fall over with a breeze rather than articulable, debatable content.
yeah, and I feel like also with immigration, for example, if you want to be analytical about it, some might say too many people came over the border, but the answer to that statement would be, what policies were wrong that allowed people to come over the border? And if you say the asylum laws are too loose, you might be able to agree with someone, but Biden tried fixing those laws. Donald Trump told Republicans to vote against it. And Joe Biden did not break any laws. They keep on saying, well, the courts never stopped Biden from letting all the illegals in. Biden didn't let them in. Biden had more deportations than Trump does right now per month. And just when you think about immigration's causes and the issues immigration would cause in the U.S., there is, even with this huge surge of immigration, if you look at crime data from all across the country, there is no area you can pinpoint that shows, okay, crime increased here because of immigration. In fact, the crime rate continued to lower from 2020. After 2020, it kept on lowering. So it's like, okay, where's the big issues with immigration? Then they'll bring up, oh, Laken Riley died. It's like, yeah, I agree. Someone got violently murdered by an illegal immigrant, or not even illegal, but like someone going through the process. People from every demographic, every group kill people. Illegal immigrants and undocumented immigrants killed and raped people under Donald Trump too, but Democrats just don't politicize it. So if they're going to be using these dead girls' names as a political mechanism, and they refuse to comment on any policies that might actually address the problem, if they just go back to Biden let all the illegals in and now we're in danger, that emotional appeal, the constant running back to being an emotional victim rather than being an actual problem solver, is also their tactic to avoid all responsibility for giving an actual analytical position. Because I cannot stand, like, don't you agree Biden let too many people in? It's like, what does the phrase Biden let too many people in actually mean? Because I'm sick of Republicans campaigning on this and never solving it, and that's probably correlated, right? If they never solve it, they can campaign on it. But for that claim, that's how I look into that issue. What can we actually affect through government to make this better? What did the people actually do? And that's a big failure, because people say the Trump economy part 1 was amazing. The reason it was amazing is because Trump wasn't allowed to do anything. It's because the so-called deep state let him do tax cuts and increase our deficit. It did nothing for growth. And he benefited from the post-Obama economy. Trump literally didn't do anything. And tariffs that he did the first term made us bail out farmers and made us bail out other industries, and we lost manufacturing and jobs in America. So like when we go into the actual facts of it, that's why they run away from courtrooms too. Once we get into the facts, it just falls apart. Oh, Trump had such a good economy. Wasn't it so good when he was first in office? But when you come back to the reality, now Donald Trump crashed down to the lowest approval rating of any president within 100 days. Because it's really good for them to keep this in, and it's really ironic, because the more Trumpers can keep the conversation in a really emotional, victimized mentality, the more they win conversations, because they're really good at manipulating people emotionally. But we have to bring it back to reality as much as possible when discussing issues, especially if we want to ever fix anything. Even if you're a conservative, we should want to talk about the actual solutions rather than just have a constant 24/7 media cycle of just constant sensationalized content. The sensationalism is insane.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sensationalism is on both sides for sure. I definitely wouldn't only prescribe that to the Republican side.
Oh no, that is politics. Part of politics is sensationalizing your message for sure, but they are 100% sensationalism. They are 0% of the job. Democrats actually do things like expand labor laws, provide mechanisms to prevent corruption, break over monopolization, support unions. Like Democrats expand healthcare. Democrats do pass policies to make America better. But Republicans use sensationalism just to kill government. I mean, all politicians do that. But the right wing right now in America is 100% captured by only that. And that's a huge problem, because once it comes down to actually solving things, they can't do anything. Of course, all politicians do this. All politicians are like, they exaggerate things. Maybe some lie. But then you have like Trump. He lies all the time to extremes that we've never saw before. That we've never seen before. So I definitely agree that like my side, their side, I don't care about my side. I do care, but I'm like I don't care in a way that I still criticize Democrats for the same reason I'd criticize Republicans if any are corrupt or if I view any as being overly sensational. I definitely criticize them as well. But the Republican Party right now, holy crap, talking to a Trump supporter is like talking to a wall. Like they literally just like respond with insults if the conversation gets bad and call you like a beta, femboy, soy boy. You love the illegals, don't you? Like, no, we care about due process. Oh, you want to support the violent rapist gang members that MS-13? It's like, you guys don't even know that because we had no due process. It's the Constitution, and they're ready to give it all up because they're the sensationalism is key for calling things national emergencies and disasters. And through national emergencies, just like Nazi Germany, just like Mussolini's Italy, just like Mao, just like every dictator, calling everything and U.S. presidents, by the way, even FDR, calling things emergencies expand executive power and authoritarian power. So they need everyone to be on high alert. They need everyone to be isolated and scared all the time, because the more people are scared, the more they'll give up to the government to be authoritarian. And that's normal for every government, but we have to push back against that for sure. We're not at a war right now, but most Americans, but most Trump supporters think we're at a war because he called the MS-13 gang members a terrorist organization. So.
Oh man. Well, man, I really do appreciate your live streams and you kind of articulating points and really taking the brunt of all of us, I guess, and I'll definitely look into those courtrooms and AP News, and I appreciate you on helping me get some direction and finding out more about this political landscape.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Definitely feel free to call in again with questions like this. I think it's good to have prescriptive conversations about how we should approach talking about these things. But it is hard because I could tell someone how to. You could lead a you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink or whatever. So a lot of people don't want this, but I appreciate that you do, and that you'll look into it. And yeah, thank you for the call and for the questions.
Yeah, man. Have a good rest of your night. I hope the stream goes well.
Thank you. You too. Hope you start streaming. Good job. Let me see. I said you too. He said, hope you have a good stream. I did the meme. You know the meme? DJ, you're hilarious in there. You're Jolah's Mossad agent. Let me see what I got here. DJ, are you on Discord? I think you're watching still. DJ also. Taking caller on DJ. Where's DJ at? DJ's not in there. I'm in the private chat, DJ, if you want to hop in there. See if that guy wants to talk. Here you go. Thank you for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe. Oh, I heard myself. Put me away.
I'm sorry. I'm driving. I'll be ready in a sec.
That's good latency, though.
Yes, it is.
People watching, like and subscribe. Make sure you donate to Jolah Politics on Venmo and Cash App and Venmo, or through Coffee. If you're still watching, I'm not going to be active for a second here because we're going to let possibly this Nazi. Wait, someone said in Discord, did he call him a Nazi because he criticized Israel? No, I'm because he's literally he literally said he loves Hitler. And then
they identify as Groypers, actually. Don't misgender them.
Yes, they are Hitler lovers who are not Hitler lovers because of Nick Fuentes. Because, well, they are, but okay. They identify as other things first. Is this an Antifa cry closet? This guy only debating liberals. I'm sorry, MAGA supporters are too scared to defend their king. Half the MAGA supporters and voters that call in now are saying sorry because they voted for the economic destruction of America because the president is brain dead. So yeah, it makes sense I'm not talking to MAGA right now because all I have are Nazis and regretful voters to talk to because of your shit president.
Half of them are regretful and apologizing. The other half are admitting that they're okay with monarchy and totalitarianism, and then crying about DEI and leaving.
Well, the first caller was a black truck driver talking about how Trump is killing our economy and the trucking industry and his own base. But then he's like, well, I'm happy I voted for him because he hates Ukraine, he hates gay people and trans people, and also he had another point that was culture war focused. And I'm like, I actually went off at the end of the conversation saying, like, you realize the exact statement you just said. Like, they said, I don't want the blacks around. I don't want to see them in our schools. I don't want to see them in our media. I don't want to see them push us on TV. Like, you're making the same arguments. He's like, you can't compare that to the plight of black people. It's like, well, I'm not comparing directly, obviously. I'm saying that's another civil rights infringement and the arguments people use to take rights away from black people. But he's like, it was a respectful conversation, but I'm like, man, there's no way. But wait, you'll like this too, because I know you're, I know Destiny talks about this, and you're a Destiny fan. But he said how, like, he explained very intricately.
You're just trying to make me look bad. I never said
Mossad,
that.
Destiny
I never said I watched Destiny. I am a part of your Mossad, though. So you pay me to be Jewish. So
to be Jewish. But the whole thing about like once Donald Trump talks or Elon Musk talks about the industry that you're in, the one thing you actually know about, you're like, well, here's how he's affecting trucking. The order flow is reducing by this percentage, and the rates for that we get paid are reducing by this much, and companies are laying people off, and like Donald Trump is killing the American economy right now. This is the worst thing any president's ever done because you know about it directly. But then Donald Trump does anything about any other issue, and they love it. But the one issue they actually have knowledge about, they hate Trump on it. It's just that same thing. Yeah.
yeah, people who are specialized, like they can be very, very smart in the one thing they specialize in, and then that knowledge doesn't translate to other areas of life or life in general. Like Jordan Peterson, at least pre-Benzo, Jordan was like very knowledgeable about psychology and to an extent about philosophy. I don't think he ever had like informed political takes, but you know, the deterioration, the degeneration because of his steak addiction has made things worse. But yeah, specialized knowledge, it just doesn't translate to knowledge in general. It kind of sucks.
Or Dova in our Discord with finance. I'm sure Dova might be watching. People
It'd
who are
be
watching
nice.
right now, I'm gonna drop the Discord link. I don't know if the neo-Nazi guy's gonna come, but if you want to have a conversation with us, I have DJ in here, or one of our mods in training. I'm probably done taking phone calls for tonight, but if you are a Trump supporter or whatever, and you want to have a, I guess, combative conversation, we still have 260 viewers, 300 viewers, around there. So if anyone wants to come in there, here's the Discord link. See if anyone hops in here. Why debate you when I can't fix stupid? Another entitled, I bet he's probably for Palestinians too. I'm for all people as God tells me to be. I'm sorry that you hate God and Jesus. You should probably just give up now because you're going to go to hell. Thank you for watching though, buddy.
I would never be for Palestinian. I like Hamas. I don't like the Palestinian people. Hamas is chill. They're freedom fighters. Palestinian people, get out. Just kidding. What's wrong with being for Palestinians? You don't like you don't like you don't like people's freedom? You don't like people who want to move and like be able to move around without being arrested or killed? You don't like that when they're brown?
Oh, Suri, are you still watching, Suri? I didn't say thank you. I just saw you donate $10 on Venmo. Thank you, Suri, if you're still here. Thank you, Suri. I gotta tell you tomorrow. I'll write that down. Thank you so much for $10. Someone said that you hit your goal. I'm gonna put $25 up for the streams. I'm at 14 out of 25 for the Venmo Cash App goal. But I mean, again, I don't need to hit that every night. I just have that up to encourage people to donate, just like all the Twitch streamers do when they update their goal whenever they hit the goal. I think that's hilarious. Actually, it's kind of funny. Like, hey, we hit the goal, guys. Time to put it up by another 500 subs.
That's called infinite growth. That's capitalism, baby.
That is capitalism. I'm chill right now. I got to sleep. I got work tomorrow. Come on another stream and debate this. He's not gonna talk. Shaking my head. He's going to bed. He has work tomorrow. At least he has work. I mean, usually people that know Nick Fuentes would not have jobs. So I mean, that is impressive.
He's just afraid of my Soros power. He's not employed.
He personally knows Nick Fuentes, by the way. Like he said he knows him. He met him through a friend at an event.
Yeah, I heard him say that.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen them in the same room together. They might be the same person.
They all sound like that. They all sound like him. It's actually kind of scary. And he asked me like, "Oh, I thought it was gonna be more combative." It's like I'm talking to a cartoon character. Like I don't care enough to be mad. Like how can I be mad at you? Yeah. It's like being mad at a Shane Gillis fan.
Yeah, Trump is a papa. Trump is sort of a daddy, but like Nick Fuentes is a whole nother level of father figure because not only do they love and adore him and agree with every single thing he says, but like there's this trend, like you said, of mimicking his mannerisms and speech patterns. It's kind of crazy.
I love the question about our Native Americans. American, well, I guess by technicality. Like, okay, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. We got to decolonize, man.
Like,
Give
which
it back to the
white
true
are the good
Americans.
whites? And I'm like, okay, I think Irish is a good one to bring up because Irish people were hated for a long time in this country. It's like, okay, I don't. What are the good whites? I don't know. Whichever ones I am.
Peru.
Ooh, I'm gonna bring Dova in because I love it. I love life. Guys watching, people watching, girls watching. What is this? Oh, wait a second. I got a voicemail for everyone to listen to.
Trump ain't bad. Dude, people bad. There's a lot of bad people out here, but Trump is really trying to do something. He's got a lot of trade deals going on. He's really trying to move some things.
He is moving some things. He's moving some things down, Mr. Voicemail.
And
I didn't
bring down the cost
didn't
of
play for me.
goods, and he's not a bad dude. But, you know, just do your research and really try to focus on you need a lot of subscribers because you don't like Trump.
Do you think they're
So
gonna fire
people are gonna like
Hegseth?
you.
I don't think. Well, actually, I don't want them to be honest.
Accelerationism filled.
And honestly, though, like, with how bad this has been so far, I would definitely say yes. We're in accelerationist mode as far as this administration goes. Nothing else, but I want this administration to collapse as much as possible, as quick as possible. And I think keeping him on just makes the DEI point funnier because it's like DEI gets in the way of merit, and then this guy's an obvious just like drunk asshole installing private servers into the Pentagon with a makeup cabinet. It's like this guy's the perfect idea of what like getting rid of DEI means. It means the opposite of merit.
No, he's a perfect talking point machine because it's like, yeah, maybe we should have like a person with actual special operations experience who's like done
No.
the job instead of a fucking Fox News pundit. It's kind of like the proof that experts sometimes matter a little bit, maybe in some areas. Sometimes I don't know, but I would say yeah, keep doing whatever makes the MAGA people look as bad as they are.
Well, Trump has boots on the. I mean, Kyle just mentioned how we're moving even more military assets to the region that can strike Yemen. I forget what the base is called because they have to move it to a carrier somewhere so they can reach the drones or whatever. Although the Houthis are taking out a lot of drones. Okay, so the idea would be in a regime like this, which they're doing the authoritarian playbook pretty wrong, which is a good thing. But if Trump's popularity is at 39% now, and they recommitted heavy to the tariffs again today, and we're at the point of if they don't fully reverse the tariffs within a week, of actually like economic turmoil and material shortage, which is really bad. And I gotta ask Dova about that. Probably not. Dova probably only knows how to make money for his people. But the idea would be if a president gets into 35% approval rating, if you want to be an authoritarian, it would be a good time to start a war, or to give cause for starting a war, or to have some type of event where it's like, well, we're gonna, thank you MP, $12 for smile. Thank you so much. Help me hit my goal for tonight. Thank you MP. I really appreciate your support and watching all the time and commenting all the time. Thank you so much.
You gotta change the goal now.
Yeah, I gotta change the goal. We gotta keep going higher. Thank you so much. But yeah, this would be the time to start some type of conflict. And I wouldn't put it past Trump to stage something, by the way. I'm not going to be conspiratorial, but I would not put it past the biggest fraudsters and liars in the world to, if not stage something, definitely make it hyperbolic or hyperbolize or whatever.
The whole making the administration look horrible thing is good, but the danger there is like if Trump gets backed into a corner, he's going to do some shit. It happened in 2020, but this time it might be more successful. So that danger is definitely there, but I don't
Dova's
know.
upset.
He's
Dova said the F, LOL.
Aw.
I was just busting your balls, Dova. Okay, but I agree with that for sure. It's dangerous, but also it's a necessary danger. There is zero way we get out of this without hitting that crucial point, that critical point. And we probably should do that before he tries to coup the government completely. And if it happens sooner, sooner better than before they can fully game the elections and fully steal voter rolls and lose public support. Like we need them to lose it now versus being more. It's like getting a cancer out. The more the cancer gets dug in, every year of this administration can be a different stage of the brain cancer. So.
Oh yeah.
I use brain cancer because I know people that had cancer and died from it, and also Trump is cutting all the cancer research. So therefore, because he's pro-cancer.
Well, at least he's putting them in the Secret Service.
Jesus.
We remember little DJ.
Oh,
We love
man.
little DJ. He's a kindred spirit with
Bro,
me.
but why did I
and-
understand? Yeah, dude. I understand Trump cut all the funding for cancer kids, for kids that have cancer, and all the cancer people, cancer people. All the people that have cancer, he cut all the cancer funding. But at least he, I mean, did you hear Democrats didn't clap for DJ, dude? That's all that mattered. It's crazy.
Clap. Why I left the left. The Democrats did not clap for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's funky stuff. It's definitely whatever downturn in public opinion happens is going to expedite whatever the Trump admin tries to do in response, whatever fucky authoritarian stuff. But I think it's going to go that way either way. And it's better that if that happens, it's like the majority of Americans are against it when it happens. It's better if that's the case than the alternative.
Yeah, the quicker pushback, if their goal is to fully integrate a surveillance state with AI like they have in China, through Peter Thiel's company, I definitely think that is the true virus being installed into our democracy, and they explicitly want to kill democracy. So yeah, the earliest that this can happen, the better, and it'll make it, less violent and less of a struggle. But I mean, people need to understand also that there's going to be some type of, you don't need to say revolutionary, but it is going to be, honestly, to get this administration out. They're not going to go peacefully. They did not last time. There is going to be a reckoning, a crucial climax point.
A shaking off, even an intifada, even.
And we need, and someone said earlier, not earlier, but a discussion around our messaging being geared towards military age men, especially because if they make weird commands or whatever else, the people with the guns need to be people that make the right decision based on the Constitution and don't fire on American citizens, or also don't participate in corrupting our government completely and being independent from the executive in some way. So that's definitely a big deal. Police, ICE is, I mean, honestly, ICE might be a good asset for us right now because ICE are rabid, disgusting dogs with no leash. And I hope to keep arresting, like I was saying the other day, keep arresting middle-aged white women court judges. Keep deporting 2-year-old American citizens. Keep deporting American citizens with cancer, and little girls with cancer. Keep doing it. Like, honestly, right now, you don't have a leash on them. You're not going to put a leash on them. Like, if you're going to keep doing it, like, might as well happen. And we got to message hard against it and make sure that no one gets hurt in the process. But the people need to see right away. It is frustrating too. It's like anyone who paid attention a little bit would have been able to see all of this coming, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say something, I forgot. Oh yeah, I was watching a Bulwark video. Bulwark. It's a try not to say the F word so that we remain PG and algorithm friendly. It's a hard name to pronounce. I have trouble. I got autism. The video, it was two people from the Bulwark talking to like a House rep, and at one point he said that there's a lot of private disapproval of Trump that's just not getting expressed publicly because it would be like a death knell for them. So I think right now it looks like there are no checks and balances, but especially in Congress, as like the disapproval starts to rise, I think that private support is going to become public because they're going to realize like, oh, it's no longer electorally lethal for me to, go against Trump. Right now,
That's
it's going to help me. Yeah.
No, thank you for bringing that up because I was talking about raw power and influence, and the only thing that matters now is going to be, and I think even Ossoff and other Democrats have said this, and that's why Bernie and AOC are such a big deal. Getting people mobilized and shifting public opinion, that's the raw social and political capital that we're moving right now. And each percentage, if a poll comes out with Trump below 35% approval, for example, all these law firms might be more comfortable backing off from the corrupt deals. And I know law firms are already making, like, law students are making lists of law schools to boycott.
Yeah.
We need that social pressure. All the companies and all the politicians around the country, business leaders, as they see that public opinion keep on ticking and ticking and ticking, it will make the resistance easier and easier as different parts of their cancerous growth are destabilized piece by piece. And that means all of us sharing media, having these conversations, each of us pushing in the right direction a little bit is going to take away their power slowly. I think it'll, yeah, having that mindset is definitely the most productive right now rather than just doom scrolling all day, for sure.
That's the best case scenario, is he gets kind of slowly lame ducked. And
It's
even if he
nonviolent,
tries
right?
stuff, it's not going to work. Yeah, it's
Nonviolent
nonviolent, it's
activism.
electoral,
Yeah.
it's good old apple pie American democracy. Hell yeah.
And you can do it
Fist
from your phone.
emoji, American flag emoji, fire emoji.
Everyone can make a post or a quick TikTok or share those posts and support creators like Jolah Talks Politics with donations to Jolah Politics on Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal, or
Whoa.
using coffee, or becoming a member to the channel with $3 a month, or super chatting. And everyone can do, like, I'm just saying, donating to every, I mean, the big creators don't need your money. Like, they're already rich. Like, look at Hassan, Destiny, Voosh, like all these people, Pac-Man, like majority, they have tons of money. You have to, they're already fully activated to the cause. You need to support people like
Wait,
Jolah Talks Politics.
Did you say Jolah Talks Politics? That's my favorite political commentator that does YouTube Shorts call-ins with Republicans and conservatives, Nazis and communists alike. He does this most nights of the week, and it would be great if you could support him so that he could continue to make great content. I love Jolah Talks Politics, and it makes my day when I can donate what extra money I have that's lying around that I'm only going to use on drugs and hookers to Jolah Talks Politics to make the world a better place.
You got my schedule too. You said most. Most.
I don't know.
That is what I say. Yeah, I stream
Yeah.
most nights. I don't have an answer for you guys. Oh man, that was good. I gotta clip that.
Oh yeah.
I heard someone said I heard that guy was platforming Nazis.
True.
Bucky, thank you for 2 joules. What does 100 mean? What are 2 joules on YouTube? I don't know what that is. I'm not a TikToker. Okay, what are 2 joules on you? 2 joules on YouTube. Donation. If you're poor, don't donate. Remember that.
Yeah, we don't want your money.
And if you're poor, I don't want poor money. No, it's because if you can't afford basic necessities, you should not be donating to any political or any person ever, including corporations. You should do Tubi and boobies.
Tubi and booby. Only donate excess money that you would otherwise spend on drugs and hookers, like me.
What is that?
You guys did it wrong. It's Jolah Talks Politics is funded by the deep state. And we desperately need you to like and subscribe so that we can end his dependence on the government.
Well, that goes without saying, but it's true nonetheless.
After USAID went, it was hard. Like, if you look at my channel growth and my viewer, I know actually the past few days have been really good, so that's good. After my break, so I am happy with the growth the past few days. But my early growth was cut off the moment USAID was ruined, right? So after they cut my funding, I had no chance for real. So
you know what that means? That means most of your viewers are veterans, or African children learning about gender theory.
I love the deep state. African American children learning about gender theory.
No. In Africa.
Oh, I thought you meant African American. Okay, so African children learning about gender theory. Yeah.
No. Yeah, African American children. They're born with knowledge of, social constructs like gender.
Thank you, Bucky. Thank you for $5. Thank you, Bucky. A nice message
Bucky,
saying Israel owns. Yeah, thank you.
It only owns about 5% of Jolah's entire company, bro. Like, come on, it's not even that much.
Mm-hmm.
The only war crime Netanyahu does to me is send love bombs.
Got him.
He's a good guy.
We are an Israeli-owned, pro-Palestinian, George Soros-backed, anti-billionaire institution.
Here's Dova. I'm gonna shame Dova.
Oh, do it.
Hey, you gotta shame
DJ,
Dova.
you
By the
forgot
way,
to mention that we're also all trans.
It's true.
yeah.
And we're all gonna beat you in sports.
Only Jolah's knows. Only Jolah's knows. Thank you for the awesome.
I'm coming for that fucking 5th place spot, boy.
Someone donated earlier $2, saying the KKK was started by the Democratic Party. He spent $2 to say that the KKK was Democrat. I just wish that you could people that say things like that over and over again. It really hurts me because I know they've been corrected many times in life, and they continue to say
they just don't like believe that the party switch happened. They believe that the parties are the same as they've always been.
You can just ask a simple question. If you had someone in the KKK today, who do you think they would be more likely to support? The Democrats or the Republicans? It's
Wait, true, Bucky.
They're gonna say the Democrats either way because they just
Mhm.
believe the worst things about their opposition anyway. They don't take the time to actually like analyze the situation or the history behind.
Well,
like,
Bucky's a
some of these
genius for the
movements.
rebuttal question. Just say how the Christians started the KKK. Well, why did the Christians start it if the Democrats did? Like, come on.
They're woke DEI Klansmen who just
Thank you for
they love
$2,
trans
Door Jam.
people, they love black people.
Who was us down
They're
in the White
just
House?
so
Thank you, Door Jam.
they're so woke.
It's Trump Jr. His Coke. If you're watching, then make sure you subscribe and stuff. We're just talking right now for the final leg of the stream. We're done taking calls though for tonight. You can call in tomorrow if you want to call in.
I have a
You have a
confession
confession.
for chat. Yeah, that was my baggie of cocaine in the White House. I visited there and dropped that shit.
Thank you for taking responsibility.
Thank you.
Hunter Biden, you're free to go.
Okay, wait. Let's ask. Can we ask? I don't want to talk because I'm tired. But DJ, can you ask Dova questions? Not troll. I want to hear his actual responses, but questions about the economy, the economic outlook, the recession indicators, and also the outlook for freight, the shipping from China cut down 40%, 50%, whatever it is, the reduction in supply, and also what he expects next few weeks. Can you ask him some questions like that for me?
I can ask him
both of y'all.
Last I heard, he was getting like closer to the doomer side of the economic outlook for the future.
Okay, I'll bring him in. We'll grill him real quick. So Dova's a finance guy, which means he knows a little bit about finance, but then other than finance, he's basically Larry the Cable Guy. Without actually no, that's too. What's a good comparison? I don't know.
Don't be mean to Dova.
Potential for joke has left, so I'm gonna add Dova. I took too long making a name. I'm too tired. Hi, Dova.
Hey, buddy.
Dova, you there, bro?
You want to tell us whether a recession is imminent?
What's up?
So, like, what's your opinion on the economic outlook for the next, let's say, 4 years?
Did Jolah ask you to ask me that?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Weird.
I want to know
This
the
is a
next
genuine.
2 weeks.
Sorry, we're not great. We're not great at our job.
Because the supply chain slack is getting ruined because the shipping crates are down 40% from China and stuff, and the market's freaking out because the tariffs are being tripled down on, and the shock that's happening right now is going to be felt soon because once the slack's gone, we're going to be slapped with the belt, and when Dad breaks out the belt, I get punished, you know.
Can you put that in the form of a question?
That was a question. So I guess remember when I joined like a month ago and I said, "Yo, these tariffs are fucking dog shit. We're gonna run out of like this is extremely recessionary."
Yeah.
It either needs to be nuanced or like a light blanket, not a heavy 10% blanket on everyone, and then like a heavier, like nothing to relatively value the tariff off of. Just you get 40%, you get 30%, you get 145%. Let's actually maybe make it 245%. When I came in here and said like this shit's not gonna work, I just said it for a reason a month ago. It's like you could see it in the data like within the first 2 to 3 weeks.
So, Nova, how do you feel with the rise, with the current rise in the bond market? Like, what does that mean for America, in your opinion?
So like the thing is, we actually had if you go, you can go to treasurydirect.com and you can see what the recent auctions were. In the 30-year and 10-year auctions were actually pretty good. I think the lowest yield bid for was something like 2.8 something, give or take, like 0.1% up or down. But the thing is that didn't stick in the market. The market prices dropped and then immediately went back up after the auction results were released. So financial institutions that bid that 2.8% yield are bullish about, think that rates are going to go down. They want to go long on rates now to lock in a higher rate, thinking it will decrease, but the entire market doesn't. So it's an awkward kind of. It describes the uncertainty because you have giant institutions that want to do the competitive auctions for the Treasury, pushing rates lower, but then regular investors or other institutions that are just on the public market, they don't think they're right. So it just describes the uncertainty within the market. Things are bouncing everywhere.
Wait, one question I actually do have about the bonds and just treasury bills in general. I don't understand exactly how they work. I know there's a correlation between like borrowing costs versus like rates and versus like if there's a confidence, then countries will buy more investments in America in general. So like, you'd invest in America for our legal system, which if we're going to be like not following Supreme Court orders, that's probably going to be more shaky. If we're going to be changing tariffs every day, that's going to be really shaky. If we're going to be antagonistic towards like Mexico and China, which is, a huge no-no for North American stability and security and also Europe. If we're going to be unreliable and countries move towards China, for example, when like I think the biggest bondholder is like Japan, right? So if countries like that lose faith in America and we see that they're dumping the bonds, like what effect does that have? How does that change like borrowing rates? Just like how do the Treasury, how do those bills actually function? Because I really don't know the exact mechanics of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, China owns like a very little amount of our actual overall debt.
Wait, yeah, no, hold on. I was gonna ask that question before you address Jola. So, like, when we're talking about bonds, like, and we're talking about like national debt, that's actually what we're talking about is the bonds, right?
Yeah, treasury bonds are America's like. So if you go and you look at the debt counter, that's the amount of treasury bonds, bills. So bills are things that expire within like a year, very short term. Notes are medium term, from like 3 to 5 years. Uh, sorry, 3 to 10 years, and bonds are from like 11 to 30 years. So that's how you know what a bond, note, and a bill is. And then basically, if like you look at the country's debt at any given point in time, that counter, that is the market value of all the bonds in existence at any given point in time.
So
Well, if it's the
why?
market value, if it's the book
Guys,
value,
we're hemorrhaging
I'll get
viewers.
slower.
Oh no, that's okay. I
Well,
run.
they don't like to talk about real things. So,
We're winding down. No, I told them we're having just like conversation. So the real
Oh,
ones
okay,
are
okay,
still
okay,
listening.
okay,
We're
okay,
the stream's over,
okay.
so we're good. Thank you for
Oh,
notifying us though. I designed you well.
Good. Yes, you did. Good evening, real ones. Goodbye,
So my main
fake
question is, so
ones.
like, let's say countries lose faith in America, like Japan. I know Japan is like one of the most overdebted countries or borrowing countries in the world, right? I think they have the worst GDP to debt ratio. But just in general, if America's not trusted and we lose my main thing
Free
is
rate,
like
yeah.
if we lose at least some foothold in being a reserve currency and countries don't trust us anymore, like what is the effect of people losing confidence in America as a project? And like I just don't know how. I'll probably look this up later.
Well, so one is going to be the bond yields going up. So like the percentage of returns is going to go up like almost immediately as people start to sell out because they're trying to incentivize people to buy in. And the second one is going to be the weakening of the U.S. dollar overall. That's a lot of the reason why when we have economic turmoil, like people buy into the bond market is because it's safe and the dollar is strong, and like that and when we do these bond sales, that's direct money to the government, basically. So it's money that goes directly to the government that they can directly spend.
So why does it
Yeah,
hurt
but
us if the rates are higher from people selling? Why does it hurt us? Does it make borrowing more expensive for America if Japan
It
dumps their
increases
bonds?
it increases the
okay,
debt
hold on.
limit.
When
So
you
like
look at so when you're the reason that treasury bills matter so much is that when you see the 10-year treasury rate, that's the most commonly accepted risk-free investment rate in the world. First of all, if America's 10-year treasury becomes seen as not risk-free, what you're going to see is you're going to see yields increase. So the 10-year is going to demand a higher interest rate for investors to give the government money, right? What that's going to do is it's going to push asset prices down. It could cause a deflationary spiral, which would be anti-growth, which would drive every single other risky asset on the globe down. Because if you take the fundamental pillar of what is a risk-free investment in the world, on the world stage, and you now say, actually, that has some fucking risk to it, everyone's going to demand a bigger return out of anything they buy from that moment forward. And you're going to see housing prices go down. You're going to see stock prices plummet. You're going to see bond yields increase and bond prices plummet. So that is the significance. It's like you are taking the established like risk-free rate of return that a majority of the world depends on for valuing every other asset on the planet, and you're saying, actually, that is risky, which flips everything upside down. That is a very general surface level answer to it. That's like your introduction to finance class.
What was the question?
It wasn't a question.
Oh, what were you explaining?
Why treasury yields matter to stay consistent and level, and the potential impact if other countries start selling them off. That being said, there's no real evidence in any of the data that sovereigns are selling US treasuries. It looks to be hedge funds and financial institutions trimming positions at the moment.
I guess the other question mainly is if the U.S. government is going to be doing drastic economic policy unilaterally through the presidency, changing it every day based off of the whims of a pretty, I guess you could say, I mean, even a corrupt leader who's going to be using tariffs and just waging them as a tool of power for exemptions with different companies and to bring favors to the table and whatever else. And if the economic market is going to be so unstable in America, if people lose confidence in the idea of America, if there's going to be like court orders ignored or whatever else, you invest in America and the American dollar because of our military, because we have laws that are pretty understood, because we have Congress that'll pass laws that are slower to pass, but they're more long lasting. If all of those benefits of America go away and we have less overall investment or confidence in America, and our currency becomes devalued. I know that Trump said himself that a weaker currency makes exports harder, and that's what China largely does, right? They'll like mess with their currency, so they'll make a transaction and then devalue their currency, so they actually receive more money in the transaction, right? I'm pretty sure that's how they do. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but they devalue their currency after making transactions and whatever else, and then they won those transactions, but. Wanting a lower value American dollar seems pretty counterintuitive right now when you look at the actual bare bones of the economy. I feel like that's just something Trump said to make it sound good.
Right. You want a weaker currency when you export. You want a stronger currency when you import. there's more leverage there when it comes to your companies exchanging money, basically. And there's more leverage for the consumer who then goes on to buy those things. But what we're seeing right now is kind of the inverse. What we saw when tariffs were first announced was like the dollar increase in value compared to like the Canadian dollar and the peso. But then when tariffs were implemented, you saw that shit fucking plummet. So it doesn't offset if we're a massively importing nation and the dollar then decreases in value compared to the people importing to us. Well, that kind of increases the potential tax that the consumer might have to bear. And of course, it's not a one-to-one. It's not like all of the tariff is offset to the consumer. Like you can see that through the actions by Ford and the actions by Honda um, lowering prices or keeping prices the same in their dealerships. But uh, some portion at some point will absolutely be offset to the consumer. I think we
Because
have
we're
been blessed at this moment because at the same time, Saudi wants to stop Iraq and other Middle Eastern nations from producing more oil. So they're dumping fucking oil onto the market, which is making gasoline or fuel for shipping way cheaper. So we've seen an offset in tariff tax put onto the consumer because of the decrease in shipping costs from lower oil prices.
it's because we're doing tariffs instead of deregulating.
We
Deregulating.
absolutely should deregulate, and the reason I hopped in the Discord today was to talk about. I've seen a lot of people, right and left, starting to shit on corporate tax rate cuts, and that's to raise the corporate tax rate by a figure of like I kept hearing 7%. If you were to raise it from 21% to 7%, you're looking to absolutely kill the U.S. economy at this point. You need to keep it at
Well,
21%
I
or
mean,
lower
so
when
that
every
that
other modernized
that
nation has it at 21%.
that raise you're talking about is just returning it to the level that it was when Obama left office,
Yeah,
and
you can't
we were in a bull market when that was the case, Stova.
Yeah, you really can't do that
Well,
because every
I'm
other modern nation has it at 21% at this point.
well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if we were like we had a bull market when it was in place. I don't like I
Yeah, it's a really bad idea to raise it. You need to keep it low because, and I heard the argument is like a lot of the arguments are then the companies are forced to reinvest it into the company. No, they're not. That does not affect their tax rate at all. That the money that they reinvest in the company is taxed before they can actually reinvest it into the company.
Would you ever do restrictions on stock buybacks to make stock buybacks illegal or at least reduced?
No, because that actually that what that does is it hurts a company's ability to restructure their current capital structure. So it like the cost of debt when it comes to like the demanded yield on a company releasing bonds onto the market uh, is lower than the cost of issuing stocks or equity. So it really hurts a company's ability to like kind of maneuver around their cost of capital and to be able to invest and create projects at a lower rate. And sure, stock buybacks have their issues.
Okay, here's the big
But I
question.
also misspoke earlier. I meant to say bull market. So like we were in a bull market after Obama with the tax rate at the what's proposed to bring it back to. So, I mean,
Yeah, but
I
the
don't understand how like
political
back
landscape has
then
changed. Most modern
so is it
nations are
just
at
in is it
21%.
just
Like
I mean
large
yeah,
economic powers are
but
21%
most
corporate.
modern nations are also like way smaller than us too. But, I mean,
That's the same argument that you can justify tariffs with, Kyle. So I don't think hurting growth through tariffs and hurting growth through raising the corporate tax rate is a good idea at all. I think if anything, we need to improve the prospects of American economic growth through corporate tax cuts. And if we're going to hurt it through
Deregulation.
tariffs, and we should
Tariffs are
deregulate
like a
most.
million times. Tariffs are a million times worse than a wealth tax. Even like, there's no comparison to what
I
what
don't
Trump's doing
know.
with tariffs. It's actually insane. But like,
The
my question would
types
be,
of tariffs, yeah.
if there was a okay, yeah, these tariffs Trump is doing is the dumbest economic policy in human history other than communist regimes, and he is a communist. Trump Maoism, I'm fully on board. That he is a Maoist. He's a communist. Trump is a literal freaking dirty communist. But okay, if there was a need, for example, to redistribute wealth in some way, is there any mechanism you can think of that would not hinder your vision of the markets that can also redistribute wealth if we saw there was an issue with freedom, with power being concentrated into too few hands? Well, what mechanisms, if I guarantee you hate like a wealth tax, and that doesn't usually work in different areas, is there a tax or an alternative minimum tax or something that you would propose to give the left to campaign on versus a corporate tax?
Yeah, I think we should reallocate our social policy. Like, I think the way that we currently implement social policies in the United States is really shit. And since the moment I came in here, I said I'm a centrist, but I also think I'm a social capitalist because I think there's really good ways that you can set an underlying safety net for every American so they can really benefit from their own productivity without being a single mother with children living on the street. Better public transportation, better,
Oh,
more.
damn. I thought you were about to bring up the negative income tax.
Wait, but
That
my
was
question
disappointing.
my question is revenue. My question is how you get revenue for those projects. So like if we said, for example, like let's say we get to a point where like let's say like one person in a hypothetical, let's say 100 people owned more wealth than literally every person in the country combined other than them. Is there a policy you could think of that can tax those individuals or at least tax that like any I know this is like more of an economic question, but I'm trying to think of anyone else that has any ideas because I'm trying to think of because no republic has survived under this level of inequality.
Rate, bro.
Whenever inequality,
the marginal rate of the
whenever
highest earners.
whenever inequality gets this bad in any society historically, it has fully collapsed to either authoritarianism or revolution. We are an outlier in that sense. So it seems to be that when we get to this level of inequality, things become unstable. And there's a forced reset of one way or another. So my question is, how can we get ahead of that and do social policies and do some redistribution without hurting the people that love the free market? I saw DJ unmuted, but
So
I'm just chilling. I'm just vibing. I'm
I
just
say
grilling.
you'd increase the marginal tax rate and also increase the Social Security cap.
Increase
what
marginal
Rosalind
tax
was
rate
saying is
onshore
actually true though. Like
onshore property ownership.
what we're seeing right now is like you can deregulate, allow companies to create more operating or I guess more operating income, right? So how like basics of a income statement is you have your revenue minus your cost of goods sold, your gross profit minus your other expenses like or minus your other operating expenses like selling and general administrative, etc. And then you get to your operating income. But under that selling and that those operating expenses belongs all your licensing fees, your auditing fees, your inspection fees, anything the government may charge you as a company. That's not under your tax. That's under your like operational costs. So you can't save that through getting more debt. You can't save that through working with federal or state, local agencies to cut down on your tax burden through programs or whatever. We've had 1% of GDP. The regulatory burden on corporations has been 1% of GDP since 1973. That's disgusting. That has extremely hamstringed our economy and our ability to grow as a nation. That hurts paychecks to individuals. That hurts reinvestment into companies and growth and new jobs and new facilities for production. It's one of the reasons why it's cheaper to produce in China now than it would be to produce here, right? So if we were to cut back on that and cut some of those regulatory costs and agencies that are redundant and overlap each other, which there is a grotesque amount of, you could save so much money that like the whole Doge thing is bullshit because they aren't actually doing any of that.
well, you could
Get
also argue that
Congress
like
to
universal
pass some
healthcare
laws,
would accomplish a
publish
lot of the
some
same
data,
goals.
show where the mistakes are, show where the redundant overlap is.
Well,
But
you
they
could
don't give a
also
fuck.
argue that like universal healthcare accomplishes a lot of those goals. We do have GDP loss on our healthcare system because we pay so much money for it, and we don't get such good output. But there's a lot of administrative costs we pay for. There would be a shock in the market if we had some type of hybrid system like Germany or Australia, which I always bring up. But there's also social policy that would give a huge GDP boost that could also help the economic stability and productivity of our workers that we don't do. I mean, education is actually a really good way to do that for pretty cheap. for just like 2-year colleges, lowers crime rate. We lose a lot of money on crime, healthcare, all that kind of stuff. I'd rather, my thing is, my politics will focus on making the economy better by doing smart social policy versus just like, doing deregulation. It depends what kind of deregulation, because I mean, I don't want to deregulate companies that want to dump cancer chemicals in the water,
No, not
but I
at
do
all.
want to deregulate if there's like administrative overhead that is not needed. That could be something we talk about. But the issue is right now, the issue right now is Trump is adding more administrative overhead when it comes to the bad regulations, and he's also cutting away regulations that protect like he's removing lawsuits from like companies that are dumping cancerous chemicals in water in like poor areas and stuff, and that's something we're going to pay for in the future regardless. So like I feel like Trump is doing the worst of both worlds right now, and he's not fully implementing the Chips Act. They're pausing the funding on that. Our manufacturing is declining now. It's just like everything that's happening right now is a big shit sandwich.
Shit show.
Shit sandwich. The shit sandwich.
I did just
It
wanted
always
to
comes
say,
down
I just wanted to
sandwich.
sorry, I just wanted to say really quick.
Get it
I think a big thank you, Dova. I think a big part of the reason that there's GDP loss related to healthcare costs is just because as a country, like consumers seem to have prioritized quality of care over affordability of care. Like we just pay for shit that's 10% better than the rest of the world's shit, and in exchange we pay like
No, but
30
the
to
issue
50% more.
the issue with that is when we look at the reason our costs are so high, largely it's because we don't have a single negotiating mechanism. Like it doesn't need to be
That's
single
also
payer,
part of it.
but like the different healthcare
Yeah.
networks are working with hospitals to jack up prices as much as possible, and there's no way to coordinate across insurance companies to do price controls or whatever. You have to do actual negotiations and have some type of thing to set, and that's why Canada has similar drugs for lower costs. And I mean, you can look at the life expectancies, happiness ratings, and we do have like cancer specialists that are better than anywhere else in the world. But also, most Americans, and the issue with healthcare costs are for general care that every other developed country has access to. You're not wrong with the overall spending
Well, I
though
mean,
on those private care points, but the issue with like the normal person who just has healthcare or another program really is because like I will probably pay. So for example, I'll pay thousands of dollars into my private plan, and also my tax dollars go to subsidies. We pay both people. We pay the government and we pay the private company. So we get screwed by both sides. So
No, that's definitely a part
I
of
mean,
it.
we could also lower the cost a lot by not having people like go to the hospital whenever they're sick. If we had like more,
That's never gonna happen, dude. We're a paranoid culture.
preemptive, preventative care.
Well, yeah.
We gotta let 'em go to the
care
ER.
preventative is way better than palliative. So I mean, if
Hey,
you can,
you're stealing my quote.
Yes, I am. So I mean, if you could go to the doctor regularly and get like a regular health screening, it would probably lower costs overall because people aren't going to put it off until they're dying, or wasting money at the emergency room because just going to see a doctor is already way too expensive.
Oh wait, Raisin, I'm making DJ read I forget what it's called. Capitalism and Freedom by
I
Friedman.
told
We're
him
gonna
already.
read it and do a joint review on it for you to watch.
I didn't tell him that part. I tried to get. I mentioned to you multiple times, Raceland. I said I'm sure he would love to be part of that conversation, and Jolah just didn't. He just shrugged it off.
No, my plan was for us to do a full review and then make Raisin sit through it for like an hour and then top it at the end to give his opinion, so he has to struggle through it.
I like that.
Oh my.
Milton Friedman is a social democrat.
It's true. It's so
No,
true.
he was a neoliberal economist. The
Nuh-uh.
fuck?
Well, we know Raisin's a
actually-
neoliberal.
He was a paleo-liberal.
my.
He didn't like the meaning, the shift in definition of the term liberal in the 20th century.
No, I was
He
interested.
used it
No,
begrudgingly,
you can hear him in interviews saying that he's a neoliberal economist.
or you
I
can
was-
read him.
I
in
brought up the
books.
DJ about like how he was in favor, or he wasn't against the New Deal programs, like a lot of them, because he felt that some were
mostly
like
the
justified
jobs-
somewhat. A lot of the
Mostly
jobs
the
programs.
jobs programs, yeah. But in chapter 1, he tries to explain why social democrat isn't like it's not a legitimate thing because democracy implies freedom and economic freedom is necessary for political freedom. So if you do socialist economic policy, you're inevitably going to get a loss of like political freedom that's necessary for democracy to exist, which is gay. And
No,
That's
it's not
base.
really wrong.
I know,
because
Race.
you
I
see
know you
it
think
in China's biggest growth period in its existence, like the thing that all its further growth was predicated upon, was when they they deregulated and didn't enforce their socialist policy in the rural areas.
Well,
Like
yeah,
when
that's
once
the
the
opposite
farmers
of
and
a social democracy. It's a
right, and
capitalist non-democracy. Yeah.
that was when China had experienced its greatest relative percent growth
Yep.
was in that time. So when you don't have social policy enforcing how the economy must behave, is when you do see the times of greatest growth.
Yeah.
I
I
call
wonder.
myself
I
a
wonder why
social
their
capitalist
labor.
because
I
I
wonder
don't
why their
think
labor is so cheap.
should ever impede.
I'm
I wonder
about
why
to
they're.
get
Are
off,
you?
What do you?
but
I wonder.
to
Yeah.
answer your question, your earlier question, Jola, I think the least offensive tax to me, the progressive tax, is a progressive value added tax.
A progressive
So,
value
yeah.
added tax. Okay.
But least offensive is. I mean, that's a low bar. You're very
Okay.
offended by all
Did
taxes.
oh crap? Did Trump's tax plan get rid of the alternative like minimum tax for corporations?
I don't know.
Trump tax plan. Okay,
can't
that's
remember. There's so
interesting.
much
I need to
going
look
on
into
right
a
now.
VAT tax more. I haven't ever looked into a VAT tax.
Well,
I feel like I heard it so much.
it has to be I mean, for a Democrat to be pitching it, would have to be a progressive value added tax. A VAT tax can also be a flat tax.
Man,
So
can they really talk about a VAT tax in American
Fla-
politics? I feel like
flat
Americans,
VAT.
it needs to be called like the America Make Stuff Pact tax or some like dumbass name for Americans to accept accept it.
Yeah, it's important. I love Sean Baudrillard. The sign has become more real than reality.
I'm gonna get off though. I'll see you guys.
All right, see you.
Oh, I raised one.
All right, people watching the stream. I'm shutting down the stream. I don't know if you guys knew I was live, but whatever. Most of you did.
Oh.
I'm going
I
to bed for
I'm
the
glad
stream,
you
people.
told me. I was about to start saying the N word.
I
Okay, chill out.
retract
I'm
all
still
the
live. Shut
statements
up.
I
Okay,
made.
guys, thank you for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe, like I said before. But yeah, I will be back on tomorrow, 9:30 again. I've been doing 9:30 recently.
Eastern
Pretty
Standard
close.
Time.
Eastern Standard Time most
sleep
nights.
schedule,
Oh yeah, I
Joel.
might be talking to Econo Boy. That'll be
Oh, that's a.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Econo boy?
He's
You
one
know
of the
that
hosts of
YouTuber?
Live and Learn.
Gonna give you a run for your money as the premier finance pro in
Is
our
he?
community.
What are his takes? Should I?
So he's
I
a
listen?
social, I think social democrat economics YouTuber, Econo Boy. He's on YouTube. But he's friends with like Pisco and people I talk to, or yeah.
It would be fun to see
Cyan.
Dova talk to him.
I don't.
You know, unironically, that would be fun.
We have somewhat.
It may push him away, but
He might go on Tim Pool though, so he's gonna be a big shot, just like Pisco and stop talking to me. Okay. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. All right.
you're gonna.